With that being said, if we ever become bigger, and as of right now, we are doing very well. And with that comes content creators and people. Well, if we keep growing as the size that we are, and we keep doing it smart, I hope to bring back high level creators to console and give it the love that it needs. Because if you really think about it, hell, look at the Call of Duty scene. They have esports for console. I mean, so does Apex. When Apex was popular, and if Apex and COD can have it, why can't R6 have it?
Yeah, I
It's
got you.
like
Okay.
it makes no sense to me.
I mean, yeah, I get that. It seems that that's a very common path is if you don't retire in console siege, there's so few people that come in and it's not sustainable,
Oh
at
yeah,
least for now.
and I've also noticed that, believe it or not, everybody in console comp is an unk. Everybody started off young a couple years ago. Everybody was like 15, 16. Well, since there's no new players, everybody's 20, 22. Everybody's old. And it's like now people are starting to go on with their lives. If they're like, okay, console's not going anywhere, it's time for me to become an adult. With them leaving, you're only losing players, and there's no new younger players entering the scene. So who is going to take over when people leave? I
That's
mean,
fair. Yeah.
like for example, Sizz is leaving. Who's going to take over for Sizz? I heard Spray, you're going to be doing that. But when you leave, who's going to take over for you?
No, no
But every
leaks, no leaks.
oh shit, my
Nah,
bad,
you're good. Nah, you're good. You're good. I'm just
It's
joking
fine.
around.
my bad.
I think
So
I can either have that cut out or approve by Scissor,
I
but
mean, it was gonna happen
yeah.
eventually. So it's just been kind of wanting to step back a little bit. So
yeah.
Yeah. So with people leaving the scene, I don't see people replacing the people that are leaving. And with that happening, eventually console's gonna die. And I don't know how to fix it. I put money down. I've recruited teams. Hell, we've made very good incentives. We've told teams, hey, if you promote us, we'll pay you more. Blah blah blah. And they'll promote us. I mean, believe it or not, if you look at Snoot like the Obey Boys, if you look at their Ubisofts, they're all named Wild Boys. And they get a whole bunch of media attention. But again, that's not bringing anybody into the console scene because people don't take it serious. There's no When Ubisoft came out and said, "Hey, we're not sponsoring console," everybody was like, "What's the point?" You know. So
Yeah, I
it's a
get you.
never-winning battle. If that makes sense.
the
Yeah, I
biggest
mean,
thing is also with the addition of tournaments. I mean, tournaments have been going crazy recently. I mean, they're starting to slow
Oh
down
yeah.
again, but I mean, tournaments kind of take away from the just the comp scene in general. The leagues,
Oh
because I
yeah.
mean, I see a lot of teams they only do their games during the weekdays. So on the weekends they can do tournaments Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
Hmm.
so I think, that just pulls teams away. And, with,
Oh yeah.
bigger content creators like Jinxie and Richie and all of them playing tournaments only, that entices the newer players to go to tournaments. They don't try leagues out first at all. They're more enticed to go tournaments and go for the big wins on the weekends compared to playing a
Absolutely.
couple weeks, and then, that's just how it is
See,
nowadays.
if you have a good team, you can join multiple discords where you can have a tournament literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you're a good team and you can win, you will be making at least 4 to 5 thousand a week. And let's say if you win one tournament, right, $1,000, you won one tournament in a day's time that you would have won with a league. What, 3 months, 2 months? So when outsiders are looking at it, it's like, should I play a tournament that I can win what, $1,000 in a day, or should I play a league that I can win $600 in 2 months? I mean, if I was a young kid, hell, I'm winning $1,000 in a day. So one thing I've noticed is older people like comp because it takes time. It's it's not attracted to the younger audience as a tournament attorney is. But the way that is set up, it's going to take way too long for console comp to get bigger, and it's just going to die. It's going to outlive the game. So, like, for example, Scissors League to only have 1,200 people when 21 million people play console, like, and Scissors is a great league, and to see that, it's like it just sucks. It just sucks.
yeah,
So everybody wants the fame.
I mean, I tend to agree. Have you ever, honestly, what I at least look at is if you look at your rush, I feel like that's almost, if the prize pool could be a little higher, that'd probably be the perfect in between. I think that would very
Oh
well
yeah,
become Because
Oh yeah, but the thing is though is we can't put it higher because if we did, you're killing other teams' wallets. People can't afford it. Like frankly enough, what I've noticed with teams is an attorney, you'll have each player put in the money. With leagues, I don't know what it is, but people won't take, hey, give me $5, hey, give me $5, hey, give me $5. It's always one person pays. And if that one person doesn't pay, the team won't sign up. So that's why, for example, if you look at Champions League, this is what, 76 teams, and I'm pretty sure only 20 paid, if that.
yeah.
So it's like,
Do you ever see trying to turn Wild Boys, or at least the current server, into more of a tournament server?
so we thought about it, but with our future into game hosting, we thought it would be too much of a responsibility. So we made a current league called THL. It's the PC league, and with that, Wild Boys Rush, it's too much. We don't want the main server to be overflooded, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people joining just to play a tournament. We want them joining to enjoy the organization, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So
Talking
with
about,
game, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
You're good.
Talk about Wild Boys Rush and stuff with your leagues. So when is I'm gonna tell the viewers to know a little more about that. When your league's starting up again. What's coming up with that.
So we're currently talking about sponsorships. So as you said before, I can't leak anything. So once it becomes official, we'll announce it, and then you'll know then. But as of right now, I can't give you an answer.
All right.
So
That's fair enough. Okay. And then,
oh.
this is more of a, do you think that, like, have you ever, in terms of, like, the actual money that comes in, how much
Yeah.
of that is from, I mean, I suppose, how much of that is from console, if any at all?
Actually, all of it.
It's coming in from console right now?
All of it. Yeah, all of it. So, for example, if Obey wins Scissor League, right? We
Mhm.
take 20%. So that's $200. And then they just won Champions. Let's say they won, again, another $1,000. That's $200. So that's $400 in a week. So we also have sponsorships. So people will pay us just to pay us. Like just to say, hey, we like how you're doing things. Here's some money. And use it as you can. And then with our ownership, we also take a percentage of every owner of Wild Boys. So, for example, I'll pay 60, Toxic will pay 60, Knight will pay 60 bi-weekly. So with everybody paying money into the organization, it keeps the organization afloat. And we also have our own bank account that has savings for the organization. So, for example, in the future, if we want to sign a very good team, we've been doing this process so long that we'll have 10,000, 20,000 if we keep saving. And that 20,000 will allow us to sign a very good team for a year. And with that very good team, that gives us the ability to expand in whatever. So as of right now with console, we're only paying two teams. We're paying CC and Obey. With
Okay.
those two teams that we're paying, it allows us to save a lot more money, if that makes sense. Since we're only paying probably like $400 to $300 a month for both teams, which
Okay.
isn't honestly a lot.
Then what
So it allows us
yeah.
to save a lot.
Let's sort of move on to, or not move on, but go a little bit more in depth. In terms of
Yeah.
your pay-per-win teams, you guys are known as the top dogs in terms of actual money. Are you willing to
Yes.
share how much that is, or is that too private?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fine.
Okay.
So I'll give you one. I'm not going to give you both teams. But for example, Obey, they get any league they want paid off. Any league. We usually ask for 3, and then per win they'll make $25. So if they do 3 games a week and they win every single one, that's $75 for the week, and that's just stacks and stacks and stacks. And then
Okay.
plus, if you think about it, once you do the pay per win, and then we only take 20% from the entry. If they win Scissor League, the team itself is probably pulling, I would say, probably like almost $2,000 home.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then this is much more of a out there, but do you ever
Yeah, go ahead.
try to have your guys play roller rivals at all to try to get some promotion, or no? Do you guys just feel that that's not worth the time or money?
It's just not worth it, to be honest. We've
Okay.
done it, and not hating on my boys. I love my boys. I love everybody, but we don't win. And no matter how hard they try, it's usually, if you look at the roller Sundays, it's usually the same people winning. Before, it was stomping, always winning. When you're seeing that team win over and over, it's basically them just getting free money. And it's like, why compete to something and us pay it if it's going to sound hurtful, but if we know who's going to win? You know, it's the same people over and over and over again. So from a business standpoint, unless if something changes, we don't see it profitable. And let's say if they do win Roller Sunday, to be honest, it's not a big deal. Like it really isn't. It doesn't bring us a huge attention. And if it did, again, people will join. Let's say let's say if, for example, Obey wins Roller Sunday, and 100 kids see it, and they're like, "Oh, I want to join Wild Boys." Well, they're gonna join, and they're gonna be like, "I want to do what Jinxie does." And we're like, "Well, sorry, he doesn't do leagues." "Oh, then I'm not interested. I want to do what he does." I'm like, "Okay, you have to go to Roller Sunday," and then we just lost. Usually, if my statistics are right, we lost around 70 to 80% of the viewership because they want to do what Jinxie's doing. So without a huge content creator supporting leagues, you're not going to have anybody stay. Like I stated before, there's not going to be no attention to it.
Do you think
so?
Ubisoft will ever go into leagues? I have my own opinion. I would say it after, but I kind of want to hear yours. Console, at least.
I honestly don't know, because I knew they were doing the Org Cup to see how console would do, and I know it flopped. So I honestly don't know. I hope so, but again, we're talking about Ubisoft here, so it's like everything that you think they would do, they do the complete opposite. If that makes sense. I mean, hell, look at Didn't they just release an Assassin's Creed game that just absolutely did horrible, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, the Assassin's
yeah.
Creed game, the Japanese one.
And they're at, last time I checked, again, you could fact check me, I could be wrong, 17% of their profit on that game was losing 17% of profit from your Assassin's Creed franchise, which used to be very, very good. And now the new R6 game, people are already hating on it. I don't see where they're going to get the money to fund console like they would PC. Now, if that Assassin's Creed game did good, and a lot of people are excited for the new R6, I could see where they could. But from my standpoint, if I was the owner of Ubisoft, I would be like, we've went on for 7 years without sponsoring console. Why would I start now? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And then let's sort of in the same little vein.
Yeah.
Do you ever plan on, I guess, signing like more high-level teams to console, or do you plan to just have your 2-3 paid and then just have the rest be free CADs?
What do you mean? Going deeper on that question, what are you talking about?
Sure, like you have Obey and the other, I'm not entirely sure, the other Wild Boys team that is paid. CC that is paid.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever plan on adding another paid team to the roster, or do you plan to stick to those two? Or
Let me ask you a question. Who else do I need?
They do dominate most of the leagues they play in. So.
Yeah, I'd struggle to disagree.
Who do I need?
Yeah.
I mean, let's pull statistics. I mean, Obey is on a 4-league winning streak. I mean, CC is also on a 3-game league winning streak. So, who else do I need? And you could argue and say 5.2, but if we take all the competition,
there is none.
Then what's the point?
There is none. All disappears.
Everybody's going to thrive to join that one org, because I don't know if you guys remember. Cards, I don't think you do, but maybe Sprays does. We were at the point where we were paying like 6 teams, and we were killing the competition, meaning that people, all they wanted to do was join Wild Boys. There was no loyalty with their organization. They would be like, if I would go up to a team and be like, hey, are you interested? They'll drop everything and just straight to Wild Boys because we paid. Well, us doing that, for us, it felt great. We were like, oh, yes, more teams. But when we came to realize, it was like, oh, shit, we're killing the scene. We're taking everybody, and there's no competition. So that's when we cut back on our paid teams. And with Obey and CC, in my eyes, I don't see where there's another team we have to make paid. They've done so well. And you also don't want to win every league. And that might sound crazy from an org owner's perspective, but if you win every single league over and over and over again, it's going to be just like Roller Sundays. People are going to get tired of it. They're going to be like, why should I participate if Obey is just going to take it home again? Mm-hmm. At least that's how I see it as.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to disagree. That's why I've been looking into casting T3, because I love console. I really do, but there has to be someone paying it. It's how Hyper was. It's how everything was. Someone has to be behind it, and it's not cheap.
No, it is not. And that's one thing that we get hated on so much, is people will come to our organization and be like, Brian's successful because he only has money. That might be true. But at the end of the day, pull me a statistic where 90% of orgs are making money. There isn't any. Most people are, honestly, esports in my eyes is a hobby. I mean, Look, 3 years ago, FaZe made a negative $51 million loss. And I'm pretty sure, you can maybe fact check me, I could be wrong. There's only 2 organizations right now making a very good profitable income. I think it's Team Liquid. I'm pretty sure it's somebody else, but again, I could be wrong. And with that being said, out of the 1,000 of orgs, if you look online, you say, hey, is a org profitable? 90% of the time, it will tell you no. So at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't have money, you're not going to succeed. That's why all these organizations are through content creation. It has to be other things to fund it.
Yeah.
And until esports becomes, like, for example, the NFL, right? That's a successful sport. Until esports becomes branded as a sport, I just see it as an investor's outside standpoint, I see it as a hobby, not an investment. And I think that's why esports is kind of at a standstill. Because, I mean, everybody wants to get into it, but everybody has too many high egos, meaning that, oh, I want to become a pro player, but you're going to have to pay me $10,000. It makes us org owners impossible to afford you. And with that being said, why do you think the orgs that are currently competing have been the same 10 orgs forever? FaZe, Team Liquid, DG2. It's the same people. Why? Because they're already set up. They got in so early. They're already set up through the content creation, etc. No one's going to take over those organizations because there's no more investors. The only people who are investing are going into those organizations that are already successful. So with us orgs, little orgs, it's like, I don't see how it's possible to pass those organizations. And that's why I told you earlier, we're getting into game hosting. Because with that much money that we could pull in, and according to my statistics, if everything go well, which I rounded up all the numbers, we could pull in around $300 to $2,000 a year and through our business. And if I'm pulling in $200,000 to $300,000 a year, could you imagine if I put $10,000 sponsor on a console league? That might start something. And just do it every year. That actually might start something in console.
Yeah.
That's what, at least that's my idea.
I get what you mean. I feel like it's common in like Korea or something, but there's nothing in this, in the U.S. or even the U.K. where, like, the league player, you wouldn't know him, Faker. He is considered like a A-list celebrity over there. Nowadays, if you said the name Herds to 99.99% of people, even Siege players, they'd be confused.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, do you ever think that esports will become, an actual like sport that people look at, or no?
No, I do not. At the current rate it's moving at, absolutely not. So let me ask you a question. When you think of FaZe, do you think of the esports players, or you think about FaZe Apex, Stretch, Sketch, whatever the hell his name is, not Stretch, whatever his name is, Lacey? You're thinking of the content curators. You're not thinking of the esports team. Like, if you asked 90% of the people who watch FaZe Apex, and you go up to their viewership and you say, hey, can you name at least 2 players on their esports R6 team? They're going to look at you, I don't know. Because frankly, how it works, in my eyes, is higher level content creators will use FaZe and the brand for their own personal use. And esports gets just looked upon. And of course, you'll have people who argue and say, yeah, I think it's future. If it was esports has been going on for, 10 years, and there's 3 billion people playing games every. That's literally 40% of the population. If 40% of the population is playing a game, explain to me why the 10 orgs are the same orgs. That doesn't make sense, because it's just not. It's too expensive, and until people start lowering prices, I don't see it going anywhere. I mean, like, for example, let's say Stompin', right? To sign him, you're gonna ask probably $100,000 to get one player for your team, and that might not even be for a year. That might just be for a couple months. So you're already taking $100,000 to pay for one player. You still have to get 4 more people, and keep in mind that's just one team. So at the end of the day, and keep in mind, they're only winning 50,000. Maybe if they're good enough, they can win the $1 million thing that happens once a year But if you add up the math, the org is always going to be at a loss because you'll have to pay the players daily. You have to do the LAN. You have to do the jerseys. You have to do the photo shoots. So at the end of the day, there's always a negative income coming in. So until things change and things become cheaper, no, I don't see esports going anywhere. I think esports will be killing itself.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I love it as a idea, but it's not sustainable.
Oh yeah, I love it. I wish. I wish. And keep in mind, I joined with zero knowledge. I thought, oh, esports is going to be the next big thing. But with us becoming the biggest organization in console, with me getting connections I never even thought I would be able to talk to, I'm sitting here like, I don't know how it's affordable. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. We were going to sign the second best Rocket League team in the Oceanic region. They wanted $5,000 a month, but they've only won $20,000. So I was like, no, that's no way, man. You're going to tell me I'm paying you more than you win? So I was like, that's no way. So I went to the number one team in Rocket League. It was almost the same thing. And I was like, okay. So hold up, give me a second. Y'all still hear me? Yep. Okay. So I was like, okay, let me try the third best team. So we went down a list and just contacted pro teams that were in the organization. And the cost that they were asking, they're making more from the org than they are from winning. And from my eyes, as an investor / org owner, how am I supposed to pay you more than you actually win? Where's my profitable income? But at the end of the day, players don't see that. They see, I want to get rich. This is how I'm going to get rich. It's always about me. But there's no me in team, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just never going to work. It just puts org owners at a loss, always. And most of the orgs today, the bigger orgs, are run by billionaires, so they can afford it. But if you're someone like me, for example, who is above average, but obviously not a billionaire, you're always going to be at a negative. So without something, for example, our game hosting, I don't see how a lot of these orgs can even survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard environment. It's not exactly friendly to anyone that's not very, very rich or very, very determined.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's sad. Like, it really is. I've met a fantastic dude. My staff team, Heisey, Knight, Nike, Toxic, Kuji, everybody on our staff is family. Like, I'm so glad I met these people. I wish I could take these people and bring them to the moon. I wish that I could sit there and be like, I mean, hell, we got registered in the state of Florida as a business. That's a huge step as an organization. Legally, from a legal standpoint, we can offer legal contracts, and we're a legal organization. I mean, shit, how many other people you hear saying that? And from that standpoint, it's like we have everything in our hands, but the players make it impossible to expand. I can't. It's like, I never will understand. And if people were just to say, hey, if I could pay, let's say if I pay a team $1,000 a month and they're winning, let's say $5,000 every 2 months, the org's making income, so are they. And both people are making an income. If the level of that gets to that standpoint, hell, esports could be the next biggest thing. But as of right now, players are too greedy. And hell, I don't blame them. I see it as everybody trying to get rich too fast. And frankly, it's not going to work like that. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that. It's not easy trying to get up and on your feet, and even when you do, there's not really all that much at the top unless you're, getting your sponsorships from, like Honda, like Liquid. Well, was Honda. Are you getting,
See,
those big?
But that's the thing. Is Honda sponsoring Liquid? Why would you sponsor the biggest org already? Why? Because they make profitable income. Now, you would never see Honda go sponsor a Brian Ruck Tuck Tuck organization. These people could be the most passionate people, but as an investor, you're not going to invest into the local organizations. You're already going to invest into the ones already set in stone. So to become a new biggest organization without being like Kaisenat, Jinxie, that level of content creation, it is impossible. Impossible. So, and again, I'm sure people are going to watch this podcast and be like, hey, I disagree, man. I feel like esports is going to be the new best thing. Please, anybody who's listening, Send me a profitable way on how you think you could become a #1 org with a profitable net income every year. I bet you $1,000 you could not do it. Can't.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to act like esports is even close to profitable nowadays, but it's just not really sustainable, at least for now. But
It's profitable as a player, not as an organization. That is what people get confused. As a player, if you're a top player, yes, it is profitable for you. Yes, you're right. But as an organization, it's not. It's not at all.
and then
So-
this is something I want to sort of go back to console for a little bit, as this is
Yeah, sure.
a lot of players, and I mean a lot, have a very distinct negative. Well, we are officially live, so let's watch the turns a little bit. But
Yo.
hey, I mean, last game before semi or last game before grand finals. Which one of you is gonna take on 907? Exciting times. Exciting times. Now, we got any predictions here? We see one team losing to the other. None. Damn, y'all some soft ass kids. Can't even say some crazy.
Cards, fuck up, bitch.
You shut the fuck up. Yeah, naughty boy. Naughty boy. Come on now.
Guys. Sprays or not sprays. Cody, can you cards? Fuck.
Can you
Put
speak?
my
Yes.
desk down and can you
What?
tell,
I mean, I can look in match chat. I feel like I'm gonna regret
I wanna hear
this.
his voice.
What do you need?
I need Cody to come speak to me
Me.
before the game starts, preferably.
If he leaves the lobby, then we already know what's going on.
Yeah, cards. Just setting it down.
Are y'all doing hand cams? Because we did not arrange this
Oh, no,
beforehand.
we're not doing a hand cam.
Just
Say
tell
Cody's
Cody
voice.
to, because if Cody
I sent
flies
it in
out
match
this
chat. I
lobby
sent it
right
in match
now,
chat. That's all he's gonna get. At some point, we're gonna not wait any longer
I
because
need him-
I exist.
No, I need him. I need him to come to game chat before the game starts because we have a suspicion.
What's the music in the back,
Cards,
hon?
If he listen,
Cards,
if he
cards,
leads
look at
the
DMs.
lobby, just
Hon, who is the last guy?
Look at it.
Zoli.
Look at Dexy's DMs. It's Zoli's. Look at my DMs.
The Dexy, Andes, Shucks.
Zoli.
All right. Who are you guys starting? Is Joey gonna come out from the depths of hell?
No, Zoli.
Hey Charlie, can you tell
Gordo.
Cody to come to game chat real quick?
Yeah, what do you want with fucking Cody?
Hey,
It's-
is
it's
this you
bugged.
guys are
Hey.
starting?
Who
Wait,
the
do not
fuck
start
is
it.
Limitless?
Do not start it. I
That's
need
not our
Cody to
guy.
come to game chat.
Yeah.
I need
I
Cody
need
to come to
Cody
game chat.
Who is this?
For what? What? Cody's game chat is bugged. What the fuck?
Who is Limitless?
Oh wait, where's Cody?
This shit's bugged.
Oh my god, game chat's so loud.
Well, VC should
Who
be-
is Limitless? I don't have a nickname for this.
It's Zoli.
It's Z Holy.
Oh yeah, because he keeps getting banned in game chat again. Stop getting banned, genius.
Yo,
Yo,
shut up,
shut
for a
up,
second, shut up for a
jackass.
second.
Hey, yeah, it's not my fault. You
Cody to come
can't
to
not
game
shut up and stop
We
saying
need
slurs.
Cody-
Like,
we need
I just don't want to play on the other accounts.
What?
Uh-huh,
Miami?
uh-huh.
What Miami?
whatever. Start it.
Okay, that's all I need.
TikTok.
Time to win, and maybe don't screw it up. Good luck. Oh, we have a beautiful game, a beautiful day, and what should be a banger. Come on now. Who is not excited for, in my opinion, best game in all of semis and probably the best game we've had so far? I'm just saying it's probably up there. This has got to be one of the strongest games we've seen. You got to at least look at the numbers here. And this is supposed to be a banger. This is supposed to be not even like just a small banger. This is supposed to be arguably one of the better games we will see and probably the entirety of playoffs. Overall, I mean, Redemption, this one is, I think, one of the more unknown maps. Is Wolves have only played it once. They have won once, but they're also going on to one of Redemption's best maps, 3-0 record on the season so far. They've been dominant. I think there's a lot of hope for them, and I think that's the big thing is, at least early on, I think both of these maps are very, very strong. The first two is where we know a lot. The last map, if we do happen to get to Chalet, is where I think everyone has question marks. It is the same team that was able to hold a team like 907 to a 7-5 win. He's one of the very few people that we've even seen get close to an overtime. And I think that there's some value in that, as we're seeing that they're at that level. That if they get to Chalet, they've only played it once, but they almost held the greatest team we've ever seen statistically, almost to an overtime. Something that no other man has been able to do yet, and they got the closest out of, I think, besides one other team. I want to say it was like someone random, like Humbugs. Okay. In terms of bans, Valkyrie is pretty par for the course. Same with Ace, in my opinion. I don't think there's any too crazy... Oh, I do need my controller. Come on. There we are. I don't think there are any crazy bans overall. I mean, the bans are kind of what you'd expect. I think Mute and Blackbeard are a little bit more, you see them not as often. Blackbeard, obviously, the strongest shield, but it's not banned anywhere near as much as you'd think, despite holding that title. I mean, I would certainly expect a very, very strong game, though. I would expect a very, very dominant game. I think that both of these teams have that power to take over a match so fast. I mean, let's go through the big hitters while we're waiting for this prep phase to sort of end itself. You have arguably some of the strongest players we've ever seen in playoffs. Andy's term is the statistically best playoff player in the entirety of the league. There is no debate. He is the best player. 2.42 KD, almost perfect on the entry, and kind of just the wrecking ball that no one wants to deal with, and no one has really been able to stop to an entirety. Only lost 2 entry fights in the entirety of last playoffs. That's a ridiculously good mark. That's, I think, the strongest player to go for. But you still have a lot of stronger things here. Zoli, I think, is a good player. I think we could see someone like I2QC come into a much bigger role. And I think that he could certainly be, I think, a bit of a riser. And we could see him pop off here and drop, more than what he averaged, which was just about 12 kills a game last playoffs. Limitless finds the first. For all of you that do not know, that is going to be Zoli. I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. I think that the aggression is kind of warranted. You want to start off good if you are Redemption, but losing your Grim is pretty grim of a sight. Excuse the shitty puns. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. There's a 95 or like 100 and something second delay. So, warning y'all, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be the prettiest game. That chat, I'll read it, but, it's not going to be instant response. Do at least see ITQC, who I think is probably going to be the main X factor here now that they've lost that Grim to cut off sites. They can at least use the reward to sort of give themselves space, give themselves that general amount of working area they like to have for a post plant. They want to go into this with at least a little bit of something to work with, not just trying to fight in and gun their way in. You do see Andy's term pick up a pretty big one there, taking down Squirtle from one MVP to another. It's not a big surprise. Zoli finds one more for his troubles, and in a 2v5, this looks pretty grim with sight. Make that a 1v5, and there's a strong start here for the entirety of Wolves as they've been able to dominate early on, get those numbers that they wanted. Somehow Zoli wins the fight while reloading. Cody goes down, and not the greatest start you wanted to see. I think, though, to be entirely fair, this is one of Redemption's better maps. This wasn't a big surprise. We see these early rounds go their ways. They have a lot more playing time on it in the season. Statistically, they play it more than Wolves does. This is one of Wolves' maps that is generally in their second round of bans. So it's not going to be their first, it's not going to be their insta-bans, but it's not going to be anything they'd like to play. Which is where we're going to sort of see, I think, how that plays out. Because we haven't seen a lot of them, and that could be very, very good or very, very bad. It's always that really big risk-reward where we don't know yet. And neither does the other team. And that's what you can really look forward to, is nobody really knows how Wolves plays on a map like Cafe. There isn't that much to do even look at. There's one game in regular season that was a pretty big beatdown. That isn't the greatest we want to look at, though. You want to, hopefully see more of the stats, but there isn't anything there. So if you are the side of Redemption, it's a little bit scary, I think, to some degree. Is the unknown is looming over your head. You don't know what Wolves is going to pull. You've never seen them play it. In one regular season game isn't enough. It's not enough against a team that I'm pretty sure was a bottom team. I want to say it was Humbugs or something. It was not a great player. It was not a great team, or not even a great match, if I'm not mistaken. Which just makes you go into question, what is Redemption's plan here? You do obviously have what I think is the last big run for a team like Redemption. They want to hope to get this now. Sprays wants to get a big finals win here. And he hasn't been able to yet. I think that this team, the threat and the idea that this team is done. Sprays will not be repping. This team will be under a new name come just next season. Yeah, I think this is a very much a now or never moment for Sprays, and needs to show that. We need to see better IGLing. We need to see just the consistency that we haven't seen. Because he is everything I think that he can be. He's a good support when he is, but
sometimes we see how that age can show, and he isn't really the crazy, dominant player at times. But he can be. We've seen that in games. We've seen that, from round to round. We'll see these flashes that he's that player that the reason they got in the Hall of Fame. You just got to see that consistently here, and this would be one of the best moments. This is playoff success. This is what everyone looks at the end of the day. 5.2 is an amazing team, but they haven't shown any success in playoffs, really, besides one run. And I think that's where a lot of teams, they'll look at them, but they'll never see them as the Obey. They'll never see them as the 907. They'll never see them on that true top-tier level. A team like Wolves, though, I think, has everything in the recipe to be a strong playoff contender here and to easily go to grand finals. They have Andy's term, who is easily the best playoff player we've ever seen in the league, statistically. We have Adexi, who has a little bit more to prove, I think. But I think he still has that value as a player. You have Shucks. You have, in my opinion, Zoli, who has obviously been on a bit of a heater so far, but I wouldn't underrate him at all. In fact, I think that this was sort of expected. He can, lead these teams through his dynamite and crazy plays, and that'll catch them so much space early on. And it's really just up to how he plays, but he's going to find the first pick pretty early on. I think that it was a big pick, to be fair. You lose Sprays, and you lose the Deimos, but traded right back out by Charlie Whirly or Squirtle. Pick your poison of names, but either way, you do lose that first pick, and I think a little bit not how you wanted. You wanted to have the Deimos to clear. Instead, you're just going to get rid of one of the roamers. Shucks does find another as the Vigil. Now he can sort of run wild, as there's nothing to stop him in this game. He can now just play however he pleases and jump wherever he wants to go, and that's the big issue, is what do you do here? You're being run up on. You don't have anything to do. Tactical is going to be hunted down by Shucks, as now he has the diffuser in hands, and this is suddenly a very grim situation, as Redemption don't look any better. Going to the second round, you lose Andy's turn finds another, taking down the ITQC. Arguably, I think one of the better players here, but so far hasn't shown that, and nobody has shown that so far, as we see one kill on the board. Redemption look entirely defeated, and it's only 2 rounds in. This is not exactly like we're running into, I think, the worst scenario possible. Squirrel could still do something here, but instead, Adexi hunts him down, and 2-0 start for Wolves, which is, I think, a miracle scenario for them. Now, this is where it's a little bit more iffy, so you now got to go into that third site. That secondary site, you can't go to your top 2. This is where a lot of cafe teams like to waver. You have these 2 strong sites. Your big 1 and your big 2. Past that, a lot of people are unsure. It's been that way for a while. The consistency can, it could vary at times. It's never truly the biggest consistency thing with a lot of cafe teams. They'll have those 2 strong sites. They'll be a dominant 2-site team, but you can still squeak out a good half because they have, a really bad third site. It's not uncommon, and it's not exactly something that I'd be surprised about. So we'll see. But that is generally what it looks to be as. Honestly, I have no idea how many viewers I have. I don't have anything up like that. I just have my overlays, my stats, and that's it. And my notes. My good old notes. But let's see what we do for the side of Wolves here, and what should be probably their weakest site statistically. It's still a relatively strong site from what I have down. Not a bad site, and they are above average generally on this site. This is generally where we do see Adexi, I think, could come into a bit of a bigger role. He likes this site a lot, and he's generally very, very good on it. A lot of this data is with Obey, so it's a little bit skewed, but I think the same player and the same sort of better sites still reign. So I'd watch out for him here in this early one. I think Adexi is a player that is a little bit underappreciated in all the teams he's been on. He's never been the true #1 player, the true superstar, but he still puts in a lot of value, and I think that you can see that a lot of times. I don't think when you have him in this 2 spot where he can kind of play around someone like Andy's term, he can fall into the back line and just let him do his thing. I think this always is a bit of a floor raiser for a team, because he's consistent enough where you're truly going to have that 5th still be good. You don't have to worry about him. And that's, I think, a big thing to, look for. Hey, Bucks is in the chat. Got a little bit of every single team in here. Do at least find the first one. Is Andy's turn. Once again, the aggression feels never matched, as no man can slow this guy down. The battering ram you don't want to run into. Hey, I mean, if I could have arguably one of the greatest playoff players of all time on a team, yeah, you're right. I would sacrifice my heart, soul, and kidney for that. And you're kind of seeing the value. He doesn't need to be the top frag, because you're still going to have other players pop in, but the entries are consistent from him. And that's the big thing, is he's always going to have that aggression to pop off. I think there's a reason he's arguably one of the better players. There's a reason that everyone kind of enjoys playing with him, and dealing with him is a miserable thing. Cody at least does fine the first. In terms of Zoli, try to get those numbers back to even, but apparently take down Andy's turn 2. Finally, the battering ram does get stopped, and he gets his first death so far. You still have a little bit of verticality you have to deal with. This isn't a fully given thing, as Miami can still do something, but taken right back down by ITQC, and now you do have the verticality you wanted. You have Shucks and Adexi left in 2 relatively dire situations where you do have the utility, but it's just a question of, do you have anything else here? You do at least find another one here if you're Adexi. You wanted to get that pick to try to even the numbers back up. You're going to have Shucks kind of in a position where he has everything around him, and there's a lot of opportunity here. He's going to have to try to take hard fights in the verticality, hard fights, you know, looking from those stairs and those flashes that could come towards him. It's a lot that could, you know, go very, very well, and a lot that could go so wrong. ITQC does find Shucks, and now you're left in a pretty hard situation if you are a Dexy. Everything is possible, but you're not really given the most resources to work with. And this is going to be the big issue is, can you pull it out here when there's not a lot looking your way? Yikes, look at the lag, but seem to be chugging relatively fine. Hey, y'all tuned in late, the odds are not my problem. Before the map break, it ain't my issue. They do at least see the fights go haywire, and apparently the lag doesn't really make for a good mixture, as everyone has a little bit of... Everyone has at least a little bit of lag on these central servers, but it doesn't matter, as Cody does finish, and Redemption do get a much-needed round. Man, what the... These... Okay, it's hopefully calming back down, I hope. If not, we are going to have some issues. Oof, Jesus Christ. Maybe not. Maybe this one's not for the faint of heart, as we're getting a lot of lag. Wait, what? 682, 20... I'm getting 2 different numbers. That's so amazing. Whatever. Third ban goes out. The Ram and the Vigil aren't really too unexpected. I think that we've seen that someone like Shucks, who can generally float around quite a bit as a player, we've seen him fall back to a support role. We can see him aggress into that alpha entry. It's a good idea to give him an operator and try to take that away. You don't want to let the Vigil just sit there and be able to kind of move wherever he needs to. Being able to, you know, not be spotted as well by drones, it gives him so much space he can play around with. He can go down to the first floor and maybe cause some issues and just hiding in a rat corner. He can go upstairs and lurk. There's so much you can do with him, and I think it's a good idea. Get rid of that tool. Sadly, there's only, you know, so much you can do with one ban, but I do like the ramp pick quite a bit. I think losing that verticality is going to be a bigger deal going into that second and third site of the second rotation. When you have your second and first floor sites, you want to have, you know, as little bit, you know, as limited verticality held in you as possible. You can still bring the buck, yes, but it's slower. It's not anywhere near as efficient. And I think that's the big thing is you can do so much verticality if you are the side of a ramp. The buck limits you a little. You have to be careful about where you're going to stand, because there could be, you know, lone C4s. There could be, obviously not the Valkyrie, but you can still see a pulse. You can still just see a guess here. And I think that's the issue is it does make you at least wary if you're grabbing the verticality. It doesn't make it so you can just go free. I think a relatively big step up. That's what you want to see. Yeah, we're back to normal ping, give or take. Hey, the lag is back. The lag is finally back, folks. We're not dead anymore. My brother's trying to play VR in the back. Concerning, I know, but that does tend to take up quite a bit of internet, and ITQC is the man for the job, trying to find himself some damage. He gets Miami low, but with a dock on board, it doesn't really give you all too much. He might waste a stim, but you know, for a little more to work with. Instead, you're going to kind of have to, I think, move around here and find, I think, a little bit more of a freestyle if you are the side of Redemption. I think the bigger issue is we haven't seen Sprays really do that much at all. He's kind of been early dying. He hasn't provided that much value in his utility because he just dies so early in these gunfights. You do have a lot of drones you can work with here, and there's not a lot you can make use of. Maybe you can grab the BP. Instead, you're going to opt to, you know, taser it away with ITQC, and you have one person lurking down below with Squirtle. Probably the biggest player, I think, to watch out for on the side of Redemption, where we've seen how strong he can be, especially when we get to that defensive half. I mean, I think he's a very unique player. No other person has such a good op like the Legion Shotgun that the ban rate skyrockets up 20% when he's playing. That's a special thing, and there's a reason that he was arguably one of the strongest regular season players in the entirety this season, and kind of see that. You also see Andy's turn putting a lot of pressure as he has everything coming towards him in different directions. He catches one on Cody. one man to do it all, and sadly he's going to go down pretty early here as you do at least get something, but still have a lot that can be done. I think ITQC is still in a good position. Squirtle's still down below, and he could lurk his way up. He could provide all of that pressure you need to give yourself some space for a good post plant. It's all going to be down to him, as I think he is the biggest changing factor in a round like this. You need to have someone like Squirtle pop off. You need to have someone that can really break open that defense, give you the space and the pressure that you needed on another side. And you at least find that one good pick. You get rid of Zoli, arguably, I think, a pretty big player, and now you're going to have to try to go for, I think, a bit of an odd plant where a lot of pressure is going around you if you're Wolves, but there's still a lot you can do about it. The Grims aren't as well placed as you'd hope for. You're going to kind of have to spray, but Miami seems to find, too, the man for it all, and now you have Miami sitting in the corner. Tactical finds it at least, but now you're in a 2v2. Squirtle goes down to a Dexy, and you're now left in a 2v1, a tactical, in a situation where you really wouldn't hope to be. You don't have the Grims. You don't have all the utility you wanted to have, as it was supposed to be cleared out earlier. You know, as you're supposed to catch the advantage with those Grims. Instead, you're going to have to make do with not really a lot to work with. The issue is you look one way, Shucks is the other, and Wolves get themselves a very, very respectable, at minimum, half. Now they can kind of look at the future and say, all of this is extra. We have our necessary things. Let's go. We got this. I also think that this was arguably one of the scariest picks you could make. Here, if you are the side of Redemption, where, yes, they only won one game, but this team loves the hard roams and sitting on these annoying spots. This is a map that lets it just happen every time, and there's only so much roam clear you can ban or bring. It's never really a situation where you can do all too much about it. You can bring the Dokkaebi that Cody's doing, but it isn't going to fully solve your issue. You're going to kind of just put a band-aid on a much larger problem that is Wolves. They love to roam. They love to hold, these crazy complex setups where it's going to take you 2 minutes of the round just to get rid of it. And with a map that executes can be very slow and very, generally traditional, it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room. You have so little room for error here. It just makes it very, very hard here for Redemption. I think they're poised for a much better defensive half, as you do have arguably the best defensive player in the league by a very large margin. Squirtle only has just around a 1.0 flat on the attack, but on the defense, he's averaging just above a 2.0. Some nasty, nasty stuff from the man, and I think it kind of shows to, well, how broken one shotgun can be in the hands of someone that loves using a shotgun, and that there isn't really been a solution for it. You could bring a Ying, maybe, but you're essentially going to have to bring either a ban fully wasted on one person, or you're going to have to kind of plan your entire round around it. Both are not exactly uncommon, but I'm certainly interested to see what we have, because the numbers don't look that crazy. We do see the dominant entry from Wolves, which is to be expected. Annie's term is 2-0, Zoli is 2-0. That's what you expected to see. It's really just, we need to see, more players step up. I think ITQC is easily the most poised to do so, but that doesn't mean he has an easy path to get there. These players are still all very, very good. Also a bit of a missed drone from Squirtle, as he might try to hide it, but we did in fact see that man cannot bounce a drone for the life of him. Cody does find the first on the Shucks. A much needed one, as you do get rid of the Warden. I'd argue probably one of the more important ops, despite how little it can seem, especially for an execute where you can see that, compound into a much larger issue over time. But you still have time, and you still have everything you really want here for Redemption. This is your round to have, and unless Zoli takes it away from you, apparently not, as Cody is the man with the SMB-12 in hand, and to be fair, this is one of his best guns by a very, very large amount, too. If I'm not mistaken, he averages a 1.6 or 1.56. I don't have my notes on me, or at least that extended notes. That's for grand finals, folks. But he's a nutty man with that SMD-12 in hand, and you're going to have to deal with that. I think that there's only so much you can do to ban, and could you really ban away the Dokkaebi and live with it? Yes, but there's a lot you got to deal with. There's a lot you want to get rid of, and I think you got to get rid of the dominant shield, and then you got to look into the other things. A good gun is just strong. It is a great thing, and is annoying if you are the other team. But having a Blackbeard is so much worse. We'll admit, though, Adexi is probably one of the weirdest situations where he just gets a freebie to strays, and the problem is now you have a big cross that can kind of watch all of sight, whether he likes it or not, and it's taken out by Andy's turn, but the trade goes, and he's in down. Squirtle finds, Cody finds last onto Miami with what is so far an amazing start. You did see a little bit of a slow get there. It's going to take some time to get used to it, but I think this is what you always have to worry about with Redemption is they have a lot of players that are super strong and opposite in situations. They have a lot of players that are good at their base level, and you give them the right situation, and they will cause havoc for your team. Sometimes for someone like Cody, it's giving him the S2012 and letting him deal with however he wants to with the roam. Letting him just kind of run wild. Squirtle, it's getting on defense and giving him a Legion shotgun. Let's not lie to each other. That's how it runs. But there's always, I think, that sort of play where all of these players have their best situations and not crazy to get to. Their ideal levels of like truly MVP status, you know, hitting that like Hall of Fame level player for just even 4 or 5 rounds, it is very possible. And I think you can see that a lot. I think the defense is the scary part. Is you really do want to grab the advantage if you're Wolves, because if you have to go into what is a very, very strong map for Redemption statistically on the defense, you do not want to have it with an even half. You want to have that comfortable space to work with, because if you don't, it's going to hurt like hell. And suddenly, you know, one round, one game can, I think, decide a lot. Not because these teams aren't poised to last better and, you know, handle a map like Clubhouse in that map too good. It's just you don't want to lose that momentum if you're a team. For Redemption, I think it's a little bit more necessary, as from what we've seen, even in the losses, the aggression from Wolves has never slowed down week to week. They've shown it every time. They will run, they will roam, they will never really stop, even if you bring everything to counter it. Which is a bit flawed, I think, in a way. If you truly do commit to a roam clear and you bring a Monty, they do slow down a little bit. You can sort of see that in a lot of their VODs and games, but that's not everything, I think. It's only so much. In terms of players, operators, and ideas, I think, from Redemption, this one's looking to be a very basic clear where you just kind of lock down that space with sprays on the Nomad, give yourself that sort of comfortable area to work with, and then you can go to town with everything else. You don't have verticality, which is, I guess, what I'd call a bit of a question mark. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You can still work without the verticality, and the Ash can kind of do the job. Same with the tactical of Grim. But you'd hope for more. I mean, I think in a situation like this, you gotta hope for some good verticality, and a Bailiff and some breach charges aren't really what you're looking for. But you don't need too much if you really know what you're doing. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Also, know that prediction for map 1. I couldn't get it up in time, and my predictions were lagging, so let's try map 2 and pray. Because why not? That'd probably be the better thing long term. Do at least find some pretty good damage to be entirely fair early on, which you do want to see, and I think to be what is much needed damage. You do not want to have to deal with this in a, you know, we're just going into this round with, you know, nothing to work with come the execute. I think a team like Wolves isn't as good when you have a 5v5 execute. They generally do have faults there. All right, dude. I need to get like sprays onto mod or something. Damn it, he's here. Whatever. Eventually, I'll have to ban MyJoy246 because screw that. Cody does find at least 1, make that 2 with ITQC, and apparently he's gonna run his way through. You do at least stop him, but you already have 2 lost picks, and you're gonna have to rely on Miami and a Dexy here to make a huge round out of not too much. You're giving them sticks, and you're expecting them to make a temple. Can it work? Maybe, but the odds are not in their favor. You do at least find 1 onto Cody. A much needed one is that Dokubi S312 is a miserable thing to fight. Now you do have the right angle, you do have the right spot, but it's all about just that little pixel. If he finds 1 singular pixel to work with, suddenly can change everything, and you are going to find that pick. You're going to at least have some pressure on Dexy, who's the next to worry about, but it doesn't matter. Squirtle's taken down. You're left in a 1v2 if you're tactical, trying to get that, you know, very nice even half, but what do you have to work with? The time not in your favor. The pre-fires are coming your way. You don't know where they are quite yet, and that's always going to be the issue, is the time is going to just wind down on you, and you end in a situation where you do get that 4-2 half if you are Wolves. Wolves get that advantage half, everything you want to have. Maybe making it a little bit closer than you'd hope for, especially with how those last couple rounds went, but you close it out in the end, you get yourself, you know, that cushioning for what is, to be fair, I think a very hard half for them. You do never know, but it doesn't look good. Oh yeah, let me, now during this time I can send the ban hammer to that one. Oh, when you do the ban, thank you, whoever that was. If it was Julia, thank you. But for spans go out, you do see the Legion and the Ace. Not really big surprises. I think that the ban was to be expected. And if you don't target ban Squirtle, you're going to deal with the massive hole you're going to have with a shotgun in your chest. It's just consistency. This man is always annoying with the shotgun every time. You're just going to have to live with it. There's nothing you can do at times. But you get what you get. You do at least have the entry sort of looking at least a little bit workable. Redemption is mostly handled by Cody, who is the only real person with any entries, but I mean, you still have, I think, 2 strong players inside of Wolves. Arguably 3, I think, that could come into a big play. Andy's term, Zoli started off strong, slowed down a little bit at the end, and I think Adexi can kind of fill the gaps wherever Andy's term falls. Is yes, their teammates on Obey. And it's kind of hard to, I think, be to do it like that. I think Andy's term is certainly not the strongest player. Or sorry, Adexi certainly isn't the strongest player on Obey. But I think he's a very strong player overall. I think that sometimes a lot of players in Obey, even though it's, you know, a great team and, you know, you look at those starting players and they're arguably all top players in their positions, sometimes you look at the subs and you're like, really? No, a lot of them are great players. They're just stuck on a team that is one of the best in console. It's like being a role player for like the Thunder. You're not really going to get anywhere near as much, you know, recognition as you are to, you know, with, I don't know, like LeBron James. Not a big hatred on the player, it's just, what is that? Overall, I mean, I think that the setup from Redemption is pretty standard. Overall, it's not a big surprise, and you do see Squirtle picking up the Goyo instead as he lost his oh-so-wanted good old Legion shotgun. Sad day for him, but for the side of Wolves, it's probably a sigh of relief as you no longer have to deal with the awful, awful player that is almost always going to provide value. Might even see a run out from Miami as soon as he gets a run out on, and without any real way to know, as that barricade was open pretty damn early, you do catch the first pick for Squirtle, and what I think is a very big start to a very dominant half for him. Someone like him is never really fun to deal with. At least not in the slightest. It's kind of always a pain. He always has been. He's always been this annoying player to you know, fight. But I think that, once again, both these teams are kind of just trying to prove they even have the right to fight a team like 907. Because once again, it feels like they're the monster without any real enemy. And normally be Obey. If we see 907 Obey, that'd feed families. But not yet. So we're going to have to probably wait a little bit. Or maybe we'll see what should be a banger game. Maybe in Champions, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Champions playoffs, Obey, 907 would feed families. I would feed my family off that game. They're not eating, I guess. They're just eating the VOD. I mean, overall, it is the slow start that I think you expect from multiple times, where they'll wait, you know, 35, 45 seconds to really get all in a position, and then they'll show 10 seconds of aggression, you lose all your bodies. But so far, Wolves do not look like a strong team, as the numbers are not in their favor. Unlike the Hunger Games, the odds are never going to be in your favor, apparently, with this team, and my 2QC is at least grabbing some good ones here. He's trying to keep those numbers close, but sprays, Shucks find ones, and it still ends in a 3v1, leaving Shucks in a pretty hard situation overall. It's really hard to figure out what you want to work with here, as Squirtle just aggresses onto you, and suddenly it might not seem all too far away. Okay. And once again, I think this is where you're going to have to see Wolves, I think, outperform what they've generally shown. In Redemption, kind of just have the normal status quo. We've seen how strong Redemption is and is on Cafe. They're 3-0 on the season. Yes, you had one of those wins against NLG X-Force, but it's still a team. And I think that the consistency was what matters. All the players always show value, and you can always see different players stepping up on a map like Cafe. However, you do have one general denominator, which is Squirtle. Legion Shotgun banned or not, he does seem to always be very close to the top of the scoreboard. You gotta provide your value, I guess.
Attackers need to locate.
Hey, some provide more value than others, and you're getting your win. 3-0 is one hell of a hard thing to really try to break the, you know, challenge of. For them, it's, I guess, taking them to Cafe is a miserable thing to do, and for 907, it's taking them to any game at all. Just don't even play against them at that point. I forgot to put a prediction. We'll have to put up one map too. Overall, for Redemption, relatively basic setup. It looks to be their default. which generally the only big changing factor is just Discord will play Legion Shotgun or Goyo.
Attackers are heading out to defuse.
It is a bit odd right now. I don't know if this is the plan where you do see a 4-1 roam, I think. We're probably going to see Squirtle fall back down to first floor and lurk. Cody generally does play downstairs in what is a normal, I guess, just like anchor position. And then you have a very hard 4 or 3 person roam upstairs and maybe 1 person downstairs. That is the general, but I think you could always see something change. And the fact that they keep that hatch, they're always going to play around that hatch. Because if they do see an issue, they can drop 2 bodies down, go swing, and... I mean, I'd certainly be up for it to see a swing fest of Wolves in Redemption. Andy's term does find the first, is what has been a little bit of a weaker performance, but that's not saying much when his average is like 14 kills a game. Excuse me, 13. But it's still a high bar to beat. That is what is the biggest thing to worry about in the end. Do at least find what should be, I think, a very strong start as Andy's term finds the 2 that he needs, and now you have a much bigger gap to work with that I think is a little bit more unexpected, but you'll gladly take it. Cody at least makes those numbers a little bit closer, getting that advantage to only 1 for Wolves, and you still have to beat what I think is a very, very strong group of people left alive, though. It doesn't matter, as Zoli's found out pretty early Cody seems to be the man for the job with an MP5 in hand, and who needs an ACOG when you can just spray everyone down? As I say that, Shucks finds what is a bit of a freebie, not even looking in the right direction. Sprays, trying to take the aggressive angle here. I don't know what the plan is, but in a 2v3, you do have to kind of let yourself go crazy. Let yourself try to find something a little bit more unorthodox. You're not going to be given any real orthodox kills, but you do find one into Miami, which through the verticality, well, it's actively being made. That might be a first, I'm not going to lie. You do find some odd kills as Shucks finds Sprays in a 1v2 with Tactical left alive. Everything is possible, but this one doesn't look likely as you still have 2 very strong players. You might find something a little bit lucky here if you're sitting in the right spot, if you are Tactical, but he shot too early, and I think that's going to give his position away that they really wanted to keep, you know, unknown. Instead, you're going to kind of have to work your way through. There's a lot of crazy amounts of pressure you can't clear. I think some good smokes here would do it, but instead you just opt a crazy swing, and Dexy finds it. Oh, okay, so we're seeing the pixels. Gotcha. This is the sort of game. We got the microscope viewfinder up. I hear you, but you do have Wolves up 5-3 with the round advantage you'd want, and looming over your heads is a match point that you really did want to have. I think banning that Legion Shotgun is unironically going to give them this map. Getting rid of the strongest weapon for one of these strongest players in the league is probably a good idea. Cody's good, but like he's never dropping triples every single round on a Legion Shotgun. Plus, it's just miserable to play against. Let's not lie. Unless you send 45 smokes, 45 flashes, a Dokkaebi, a Deimos, and maybe a line too, you're not clearing him. And he's miserable to deal with because it's essentially just an unkillable wall with Legion Mines in hand to watch his back. You do have what is the basic default extension for them. They do have a roam play and they do have a bunker play, but we're going to see the normal one instead. Not a big surprise. Once again, the only major changing op in this is you will actually see ITQC and Cody swap places. However, that is generally when ITQC is feeling very hot. You know, he's on his A game when he's dropping like 12, which does happen occasionally. A lot of times he's going to fall back into more of the role player. Cody would fall back in replacement, but instead, you're going to have the normality, which is just ITQC plays the role he needs. Cody plays his sort of main thing on Warden, and Squirtle doesn't have his shotgun, so he's going to Goyo instead. Nothing we haven't ever seen. The operator that Squirtle chooses after he loses the Legion shotgun does vary. You have seen occasionally a Frost, a Vigil, but most of the time it is something like Goyo where you can kind of just use that ACOG to make havoc rain upon anyone else. Andy's term is very aware of the fact that there's more utility than you'd ever want to deal with. The problem is, the one shield you do bring is one that you can't really counter in Blitz. You can still get a melee in there. That could certainly be a good way to deal with it, but you're kind of just playing this dancing game as you want to find the first. ITQC does kind of find a big one there. One found from Cody, but eventually taken down by Andy's term as they do clear the extension, and now it's a bit of free reign on the site as most of the players are there. Squirtle, that's in a very good position, I think, where he can make this long shot on the hallway. And that might be his big plan here, is just kind of wait for the right moment, wait for those sound cues, and go crazy. On the other side, they do have Andy's term, Miami, and kind of everyone preparing for what should be a freezer execute in. with tactical, and Spray is relatively close to the fact it could certainly happen. Just gotta be very careful here, as a shotgun can be very dangerous. Squirtle's gonna probably just keep trying to jiggle this, find something if he's lucky, but he'll be glad to just kind of wait for it, wait for the execute, and just play very well on that, as Wolves is not the strongest execute team generally. They do have a shield in hand of Andy's, which should help the execute a little bit, give them the space they do need, but it's not like a team they're really terrified the second they get next to the wall and they have all the basic stuff. The post plant isn't as strong as most teams, and that could be a great way to stop this, is you try to exploit that. You let them try to go for that plant there, and you just beat them in that post plant. It maybe be a bit of a risky strategy, but a very possible one. Problem here is time is what I'm looking at, is you might be able to save a little bit, but I think there's only so much you can afford to lose. Miami's at least getting verticality, getting rid of the basic utility, but there's still so much you have to do, and Squirtle, once again, eventually finds his one jiggling. It happens to be Zoli this time, but I think any one of those players could have really been caught out by that Goyo. The Vector is a strong weapon, and you do at least have to plan, as Andy's term has a lot of damage towards him. Tactical sits in a corner, gotcha's a pretty big one there, and you're left in a 1v3 with 40 seconds left. Miami gonna have to pull some miracles out of his asses. This one's not coming from, any true type of skill, I think. The numbers don't benefit him, and he's gonna have to really have a big throw here, I think, from one player or another. But it's still possible if he's lucky. There's still a chance something could happen. It's really just what can you do with 20 seconds left, as everything's going to close in on you eventually. You do at least find one, but you don't know where all of them are. They can just sit in corners, and you're left in a situation unknown. And you have to try to swing the unknowns every time, as you don't even really know. You do at least find the one. A chance for a plan is maybe possible, but you have to be perfect, and you don't know where. And the plan is a miserable idea, as Sprays is going to be able to sit in the corner. The damage is sent towards him. He might be able to pistol it. He does. Miami finds it. Match point looms. And what should have been an impossible win for someone like Miami, even with all of the skill he has, even with how good he can be. I think Redemption throw the bodies they never needed to, and now you have a situation where this is a worst case scenario. Wolves has a 3-round advantage. I don't know if I'd say they hold their team back. I would say that he is kind of weak as a player. I think holding him back would make it sound like he's making them not get playoffs and not succeed. I think, yes, are there better support players on the free agent market? Yes. I think that even in the current free agent market, you could probably pick up a better player. But I mean, he made the team, he reps the team, there's only so much you can do, and their sub roster isn't really that deep either, so you're kind of shooting for options that aren't really that deep. You're gonna kind of have to do something that no one will really like, but you work with what you have. I mean, if you can get someone like Vibin or maybe Scatter on, maybe. It's really just... Or is that really a team that you really want to start? You could get Dry. You could get someone like Dry maybe in and play the support, but none of those are really, I think, better than Sprays. They're just a more unknown option. They have higher floors, but they have so much... Or sorry, they have higher ceilings with so much lower floors. The floor for Sprays, yes, it's not great, but he will be an okay support player, and he'll probably drop a 0.5 or maybe a little bit less than. Someone like Ladder, we've seen him pop off occasionally. Problem is that a lot of them don't play anymore. And, maybe they find something, but it's a question. And Cody might have something happen to his PCA, and apparently he's going to have a little bit of a battery issue, I'm assuming. Honestly, no. I think that if you could pick up one player with the free agent market, I guarantee you Sprays would be one to be gone. I think if you picked up someone like Pseudo, Kex, even if you picked up someone like Snipe, you could probably do that, and I think that'd be a pretty big step up. I think Pseudo would obviously be, in my opinion, the strongest one. In my opinion, but I don't know. To be fair, you do have quite a few players kind of looming into what is, I think, a really good free agent market for the season. It's been questionable for a lot of teams. As someone like Jeff, we don't really know where he is quite yet. We know he's currently on 907, but we don't know if that's just an emergency thing because Order had issues, and obviously he isn't on there anymore. But he's the biggest unknown for the free agent market, and also easily the biggest target, possibly. You'd have to certainly do some convincing to get someone like Jeff Sicko onto your team, but if you do, that'd be a strong player. Same with someone like Mason, where I think a lot of those newer players, because of playoffs, their positions are a little unknown to a lot. Sprays it so I mean, he's had his issues. He's a good leader as a team, and he used to rep like an amazingly high level, but it's sort of where I look at Stretch, where every single season and every single time we see him, it's just, it feels like the product on game just kind of decays. Like, Stretch used to be a top player in the entirety of League, and I'd argue at one point was a prime player in console, and he's kind of just slowly fell down from that level, and I think the same can be said for a lot of players like Stretch. I think he's not that bad yet, but he's not what you call a crazy player. You do find the pre-fire, get some damage for Shucks, but Defender is going to make it pretty impossible. You do at least find another one for Tactical, and he seems to be the main thing, as you have Sprays just being an absolute annoying person in everything he can do. ITQC and Adexi both find some left in a chance, where you have Adexi as kind of the role player here to try to finish it at a good dominant 7-3, but with numbers not being in your advantage, you're going to have to work something pretty special here, I think. And with a missed drone, what could have been would have been perfect, but instead you're going to have to make a move with a bit of an unknown. Have to guess. You're going to have to be lucky. You're going to have to think, show some aggression, show some risk here. But it's really just a big question of, does Adexi feel that confidence yet? Does he feel, despite his new team, he's going to make that play? Going to show that aggression and go for it. Options might be wide in terms of what could happen, but for Wolves, you're going to have to find a pick for any of these to even be realistic. You cannot afford to let this time wind down, as even if you get ready for a plan, it's a 2v3. It's going to be a 1v3 if you have that diffuser go down. It's not a great start. You have a 1v3 taking out Miami is a good start. Adexi at least finds one, but no swings from anyone should mean this one should at least go on a little bit longer. Maybe approach the overtime, that it would be beautiful, but you find the 1v1. Nobody's giving up that body, though. Squirtle is just going to wait for his numbers, wait for his time. There's not much you can do. It's all about timing. Can he find that player? And he does, and you live a little bit longer with your main man MVP saving you just a little bit. That's why I said he was a good leader with performance issues. He slowly degraded from what was considered a really, really good leader to a decent to, I don't know what he's even considered now in the general market. Like, in the free agent market of, like, all players, reps are somewhat high valued in SSL because you need licensed reps, but, like, it's a question of, is he even that well liked as a player? Because if he's a shitty locker room presence, then no. You'd rather try to find your own licensed rep, or get someone like Mason, get someone like, that's actually probably like the only one that's free. You could probably, you know, get your own licensed rep if you went for a free agent, but it's not looking super great. Stats-wise, though, there was one man who reigned supreme at 4-0. The dominance that you'd never want to see if you are Redemption, and the dominance thing you come expected to see if you're in a Dex, or not a Dexy, Andy's term fan, as the Obey brothers are kind of showing out. I think it's kind of just a 1A, 1B in this situation. I think Andy's term is certainly that 1A, but it's still two very dominant players, and I think the chemistry from being on Obey and playing together is still kind of seen. Andy's term, 4-0 on the entry, 100% cost. Only person who's even close to that. Great KD, great amount of refrags. He has 3 refrags, 4 tritic kills. He is the everything player you'd want to have, and you're seeing that. I think Adexi is sort of fallen back into what is a good role and what he's better at. You sit behind that number one. You sit behind the true top dog on a team like Andy's turn. And Adexi can pop off. He's going to have good numbers. He's going to have everything that's really perfect for a player that's at number 2. He's your T. Higgins to your Jamar Chases. He's your, you know, LeBron's to your Lucas. I'm not going to go into soccer terms because I'm pretty sure 95% of you are American, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to confuse you more than say anything interesting. But you do at least know what the plan is you see all the shields come in, and you know exactly what's going to happen. Shucks, Adexi, all of the shields in hand, and Andy's term is on the glass out of all things. Maybe give him in a DMR, and he might do something fun. Squirtle finds the first onto the Blackbeard, which is probably the most important pick to lose. You don't really want to lose someone like that, where I think he's going to be the biggest deal with the execute, especially since we have Cody on the ward. The smokes are not a big deal, as you can at least somewhat challenge that. Maybe not to the highest level you'd hope. Tactical finds another body in a 5v3, what was supposed to be a rush play, going a little bit awry here. You do at least have a shield. You do have a war left to make something happen, but you're not given a lot of options here. You're going to kind of have to look for something, I think, a little bit different. New. You're going to have to see something that we don't really see from Wolves, which is a massive comeback. You still have Squirtle alive. You still have all of those annoying players you don't want to deal with. I2QC, Cody. You still have the warding. You have everything that is hard to fight, and you're down on numbers. This is a very big all-or-nothing scenario, and you lose a little bit more damage if you are Miami. It's really just time. I think a time factor. There's only so much you can delay, and Smokes can go out here trying to cut off an angle, but what are you going to be given here is tactical. What makes the numbers even lower unless you find 3 here. Excuse me, Shucks finds 2 in a collateral. Maybe something can come out of this round. Maybe it's not entirely over yet, but with a minute 16, it's just a big question of how much can you clear in such a short amount of time. You have one player waking his way around as Squirtle's kind of looking, I think, to flank behind and maybe find something, and he might be in a perfect situation to do it, as he might not know yet, but he finds one and a big one, and now he's facing 2 different players. Shucks can only fight so much. Eventually taken out by Tactical as we get ever so close to the infinite overtime that Wolves despise. Wolves 6-5. And now what seemed also guaranteed is now super, super close. And I think either way, if you lose this, it's still not bad. You still have a good amount of what you want. You still have maybe not the players that I think would be, expected to pop off. I think you probably didn't have Tactical really being the main guy, but that's not a bad thing. You can still have a relatively good start, and then Spray's sort of playing in the back like usual. No hate onto the man, I promise. I love him, but there's some times where we just don't pop off. We'll see. But I think the looks for redemption right now are good. The morale is high. Squirtle's popping off. Tactical's doing fine. ITQC is sort of playing the role player. Cody's doing what he needs to. Everyone feels like their role is being filled, and then there's Sprays. The odd man out in the team that has generally kind of not accepted him, but the team is kind of carrying on as usual, besides Squirtle maybe being unknown, and Sprays won't be there to rep. He will not be a player on whatever the unnamed roster is for Redemption next season, which is a big question of what is next then for him. I think a player that has shown a high level, he's been in the Hall of Fame, he's shown good peaks, and he's shown good flashes even as of recent, but what do you have in store for a man that looks relatively bottomed out? He might have been perfect in his time, but he doesn't look like the same man he used to be. He doesn't look like the same level of absolute dominance. And maybe he makes a team of uncles and we see like Stretch. No, Stretch actually is enjoyed on 5.2. I don't know, maybe you see like Gladder, the Way brothers, in like Flaxy all come together for the weirdest team on the planet in D1. You never know nowadays. You can never truly guess. But it's at least worth the question of what's next for someone like him and what's next for someone like Squirtle. I think the world is his oyster here. Is any team he really realistically wanted to go to, they'd pick up. MVP candidate, probably one of the strongest players. He does have a little bit of a weird ego, but not anywhere near as strong as some other guys. And what is certainly a big situation for him is he's getting some damage on his Zoli, looking to hopefully get in the game early, but he's going to get only a little bit of damage today, as you're not going to be given that first pick that you so wanted. Instead, you're going to have to make do with just half-health players. But you might find something here if you're sitting in the corner. It's a much bigger question mark, because he won't even know. And Andy's term is sitting in a position all ready for what I'm assuming is a plan. Or at least the assumption is he's lurked his way into reading, and now you have one player who's entirely put himself into a position for a lot of value. Zoli finds the first, ITQC with another, Dexy trades, and all the bodies go out. Wolves have the numbers they please, and now see a much bigger step up from Sprays, which is not something we see in Cody kind of pop off in a 1v4. This one looks all but inevitable, as finally it happened. You might find one, but what is really going to be done here in a 1v3? There's only so much you can do. There's only so many fights you can take, as finally it's finished by Wolves. They get the win. They get the much, I think the much more odd win. They win that 7-5 instead of what was supposed to be, a big W, but you take your numbers, you take what you can get, and you go on. That'll be all for our little break.
This is Sprays, and this is the Counting Cards Podcast Week 1. Today we have with us Brian from Wild Boys, the
Hello.
leader Let's simple though. Who are you?
My name's Brian, / of the Wild Boys organization / LLC.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Let's look, Han. Let's look to the past.
okay.
So how did you start the org? How did it come to be?
How did I start the org? Well, funny enough, um, one day I was sitting there with a group of friends at this place called Twin Peaks, and one of my friends mentioned Jinxie. Like, Jinxie, who the fuck is that? So they pulled up his Twitch, and we were watching him, and he said something about like a $50,000 like game. What? There's no way. So me going into Discord and going around, I went through the main R6 server on Discord, and then I got recruited by forgot what org it was, but some small org where me, Knight, and Toxic were, when we get farther into the podcast, they'll become relevant, recruited me from to go play with them. Well, we joined this org together, and we were sitting there, and I was like, oh, okay. Learning on how leagues work, on who runs things. I was like, I want to do this. So one day I was like, yo, Knight, Toxic, if I make an organization, will you guys join? And they were like, hell yeah. And now that's the beginning of Wild Boys right there.
How many teams do you have in the beginning?
Okay. So in the very beginning of Wild Boys, I didn't understand on how necessarily comp worked. I thought as if I get 5 players, I have a team. I didn't understand that you had to have the best of the best, or they all had to be champ. So me, Knight, and Toxic decided to make 23 teams in Wild Boys when we first started. And half the team were coppers, half were like silvers, a couple plats. I think we had 1 diamond for 23 teams. And then, yeah, and then through then, we became more knowledgeable in the comp scene. And now, today, I'm pretty sure we have 12 teams.
So to also
Yeah.
go off of that, is there like one player or a specific player or specific team that helped gain popularity?
Yes. So, are you guys familiar with the guy named Cosmic?
A little.
Yes.
Okay. So, Cosmic, one day, I was sitting there on Wild Boys, posting, looking for org / players. I was going, hey, Wild Boys, we're this and that. Well, Cosmic reached out, and his team at the time was called Code Black, and they were, in my opinion, probably one of the best teams in comp at the time. And Cosmic was like, hey, I have a really good team looking for an org. I'm willing to help get you started and etc. So I was like, shit, help me out. Well, Cosmic, me, Knight, and Toxic all got in a VC, and we talked, and next thing later, Code Black joined Wild Boys, and from there, we took off like a rocket ship. I think we went from 50 people in our Discord server to 500 in a matter of 2 months. So when I say we skyrocketed, it was very fast.
All
That's
right.
crazy.
And so you kind of contribute your success a little bit to picking up Code Black and all that, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All
Without
right.
Cosmic, we would have had a very rough start. Absolutely, 100%.
All right. And
Okay.
kind of going back to your players a little bit, who was your like favorite when your org was still developing? If you had to pick, if you had to.
Ooh, see, I can't answer that because
Can't answer.
you got to
I
realize
understand. I understand. Yeah.
from an org owner, if I pick one person, the other person will be like, "Oh, I thought you liked me," and it's just gonna start little fights, and we'll stay away from that conversation.
We'll stay away from the drama on the
Um,
podcast. It's only episode 1.
yep,
We'll stay away.
exactly, exactly, yep. So, but I did have a couple favorite teams. Obviously, Code Black, and believe it or not, 619 was our very first team to ever win us a trophy for our organization. They won D2 Scissor League, and they got a little trophy for it. And that was our, believe it or not, that was our very first team. And ever since then, 619 was with us for a little bit. They left due to certain issues, and they came back. So 619 is probably one of the most loyal teams we've had.
We're live now, so watch the language within reason.
What do you know when Sprays is swinging you? What are you thinking? Like,
Miami.
Hey, listen, it's a special kind of person to go, like, what was it?
He knew he was in a 1v1 with
3-8.
Sprays. He knew he won the round. I mean, fuck.
I mean, Sprays just baited the whole 3v1. I'm gonna like.
Dude had 5 seconds. Sprays had a shotgun. Doesn't matter.
Well, Char, I
knew
can't
who he was
lie.
playing
You
against.
Just
sold,
mute your
twin.
mic.
You
I don't want
shouldn't
to
have.
hear you. Mute
Respectfully,
your
the
mic.
statistical over/under for Sprays was like 4.5, so I'm not entirely surprised.
I mean, it's alright, Cards. I literally told him about 2 hours before the game to let Noct play, and he just said, I'm playing.
Sprays is fatter than Zillers, bro. Like, I don't care.
Oh.
All right, dude. We're getting into some interesting territory.
I don't care, Cards.
Or,
You don't understand how hard I just got
Where's
sold.
Dexter, bro?
Hey, listen. We all know why you lost that map. We all know why you lost the map. We get it. You didn't have leech and shotgun. It's fine. We respect you. Just
It's okay, you sold, bro.
You're a little bro to me, bro.
yeah, you're 12, so I mean, you kind of do get little, bro.
You're a caster. Mute up. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, silence, bro. You can't even stream.
I made more money off streaming in 4 months than you will ever make off Twitch. So mute up.
Aw, I'm sad. But I got nepotism too, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried, gang.
I got nepotism.
You just don't have like head start in life, couldn't you?
Miami. Get him in here.
Oh yeah, I probably should not be. I need to spectate.
I mean, unless you.
Are we all ready to go? 3, 2, 1. If y'all lose, by the way, you're over. I'm gonna
Good luck, guys.
immediately obliterate y'all.
Good luck.
Win. Go team or something.
Let's go.
When in doubt, don't trust whatever Squirtle says, because I'm pretty sure we're all concerned for his mental whatever he has. I don't know if I'd call it sanity. It's more like a in-between of mentally safe and teenager being weird. You can guess. He's him. Oh yeah, I should probably spell Clubhouse with a G. House. There we go. Hey, second time's the charm, right? Hey, maybe now Wolves do have a much harder team to beat, as they do not have to deal with a albatross of a player. They have a very hard support to fight. And I don't have all my players. That's so fun. the enjoyment of life. Not really, but you know, we'll tell myself it is. Oh wait, hold up. We can do predictions this time. Prediction time, baby. Redemption, Wolves, prediction. It exists now. It's no longer an enigma, guys. The predictions are real. The One Piece is real. Fun times. Can I? Oh, no, I can't. No fun. Ugh. Good times though. I think we have a very strong. SpongeBob. Okay, I thought we were talking. I thought you were talking about me for a second. I'm like, damn. No, he's still like 12 something. I think. I don't know. I get it. My CPU has high usage. It's fine. I promise. Outplayed. I'm not gonna die. I overclocked everything. Everything is overclocked. A 3070 isn't exactly blowing away the world. Hey, we can hate on anyone as much as we can. Also, I know one of you is in chat that is a player, at least one. It doesn't matter. The delay is unbelievably long. It's so far away that anything that happens in-game is already gone by the time you see it. I think we're at... I had a connection issue, so we're at like 195 seconds, I think, or like 140. I don't know. I gotta check eventually. But y'all are not gonna have fun if you're trying to stream snipe, because it's gonna be wrong. Well, maybe you can find... I don't know. Something? You never know. Statistically, at least, this one should be a little bit more in the favor of Wolves. I think this is sort of the map that I think everyone expects them to do better on. But you never know. To be entirely fair, you never do truly know. Overall, both teams are 3-0 on this map, which is a little bit funny, but... You know, I think it's more exciting. These are the two most played maps. Almost statistically, I think Cafe's like the 3 and Clubhouse is at like the 2. Nighthaven's at the 1, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you know what you're going to get. These are the most default, like, Organ level maps where everyone knows what you're doing. I think, in my opinion, Nighthaven is Organ Plus. Yes, Wolves won map 1. It's sort of up on the scoreboard with the dots. It's kind of weird and somewhat intuitive, but not really. They won 7-5 with a relatively dominant win, just shitting the bed at the very end. Andy's term does fine in the first, as once again, it feels like you're never really going to be able to stop him from getting his entries. He might not always be a great player. Sometimes he has his faults, but he could be in his worst place in his life. He could be miserable. He's still going to go like 6-1 on entry. So far, he hasn't lost a single entry fight today after an entire game of going 4-0. When in doubt, be terrified of the fact that he's probably going to take away all your entries. And Squirtle at least finds one with, you know, when in doubt, trust that shotgun to do its thing, because you don't have the Legion, but instead you swap your way around, and Tactical finds another, getting rid of Zoli, and the Blackbeard's going to do his thing, finding ITQC, and you can kind of just be the, you can just run through everything, because who needs skill? You have a Blackbeard. But a bot shield melee means Noct does finally finish, and you do have a player to work around as finally Sprays is gone. The albatross of a player, the Raheem Morris of reps right now is gone. And no, you have something to work with here. Screw Raheem Morris. It's more of a Matt Eberflus sort of situation. In a 1v1, Noct is going to go aggressive, and in a Dexy Noct, I do generally have this being very close. These players are very close head-to-head, and Noct finishes just barely with that lightly, you know, with that HP bar being about as low as it can get before you really start to question how that even happened. And I think this is sort of going to be a tone shifter as this game is, we're not going to have a dominant one like last. This is going to be a neck and neck. It would not surprise me if we go 4 or 5 rounds in infinite overtime kind of game. This is going to be a long game, so settle in, because I'm pretty sure all of us are going to feel a lot of stuff. There we go. Eventually I'll get a webcam, but that's honestly on like a need to eventually do thing, and I don't really want to do it, so no webcam, because I ain't paying for a webcam right now. Maybe I get the TikTok webcam, guys.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I think if you're a Redemption fan, you should be, you know, a little bit happier. You do have a much better support player, and you have a team that I think is a much higher floor. I think that the ceiling is around the same because Noct can have issues, but good lord, can these guys come in and really pop off? This is where you have to worry. This is where you generally, if you are Wolves, this is where you're unsure, because you no longer have Sprays in being a 3-9 support. You have Noct, who is not exactly breaking the world, let's be honest. He's not going to change this game's outcome entirely by himself. But he's such a big raise, I think, from someone like Sprays. You have a lot more to work with. You have a little bit more to play around with. That is the big deal. He can be a little bit more flexible. You can see Noct move around a lot more in terms of where position goes. He can play the roam. He can play the anchor. We've seen him do both. And surprisingly, we have not seen the shotgun of Legion come out at all. Squirtle has opted to go for the ACOG of Goyo instead, which seems to be a very popular option nowadays if you're going for the aggressive plays. But I think I'm a little more unexpected, especially since on a roam too. Legion shotgun would normally be the, you know, choice for roaming, but instead they're opting to just go all the way from what he's used to, and Squirtle playing a little bit more different. I'll take it though. Goyos do stay alive and catches those switches at the last second. I'm gonna pretend I didn't read that last message. We are not gooning to, I don't know, Andy's term. I like stats as much as the next two, but that's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna count it. Hey, I mean, we listen, we don't judge. Or we listen and we judge with prejudice. That too. But I think Redemption could very well win this, and I think that the longer this goes on with no kills at all is probably going to give that big advantage to someone like Redemption. This team is better in the execute than Wolves by a large margin. They play better in situations where it's like a 5v5, 4v5 execute, because they're good when the bigger game is going on and strategy can sort of be put to the forefront. They're much better. But when it's, you know, only a 2v, it's like a 2v3, a 1v1, generally Wolves is going to pull that out most of the time. They're better in those situations. A difference in teams, if you will. Dude, what? Is map 1 just like... Wolves won map 1. I gotta find like a freaking map. ITQC does grab the first, and what is a much needed one, I think, where you need to find the pick. You need to find just something to work with. Because without it, it would have been a very iffy win. I don't know what's happening. We're supposed to have a bot. It's not doing its thing. Cody does find another, and Miami goes down. I mean, these numbers are not anywhere near what you want to be. I hear disconnect. I'm assuming that's an issue. Question is on who. It's too late for a rehost, and You don't lose a body, which is, I think, much more important. And we can pause right after. You see the drop come out as the Madman runs in. Noct finds his death as Andy's turn is the man to go, and the aggression is not, you know, it's not finally taken down. There's some reason for it. Some retribution, if you will, and Limitless and what to do. Zoli left in a situation with not a lot he can work with. His time is going to wind down in him. Damage is going to do it instead, but ITQC finds it, and Redemption looks so much better. Now we do have to go through a little bit of pause. I'm going to not... We're not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to go into tech pause quite yet. Because that is why. Once I sort of see that they're alive and well, we're going to start it up. And we do not have any tech pause, folks. We had one in the very beginning because... Or, sorry, in between maps because Ubisoft and a sub out. But otherwise, relatively normal. I'll take it, folks. You know, you get your normal game. I have notes, finally, like that are actually readily available. Hey, you never know. I think Redemption, this is, once again, their last push. I think Sprays is... I don't think he will be the reason they win this ring if they do finally get one on the board. I think he would be sort of like a situation or something like Dark, maybe. I don't know if he's still on roster for next season, but this season, he could collect himself a nice ring. It's like being like the Jalen Naylor, or like the wide receiver 4 of the team. It's like being Jahan Dotson. No, because he wasn't even there at the time. I don't know what. I'm trying to think of like a player that's absolutely meaningless to the team. I don't know. I gotta figure something out. I gotta remember a genuinely meaningless name from a Super Bowl team. Anyways, back to the actual game. You do at least have yourself the Azami to play around with and have CC all to yourself realistically. That's the big plus. That is what you have to work with. And to be fair, it is a very large thing to work with. You're not going to have to, you know, fight tooth and nail for, you know, rafters. It should be safe, and pretty safe at that, because I don't really know how much pressure you're going to see. But you never know. The damage is going to go out. I think once again, this is sort of just going to be a situation where it comes down to who's more patient. Wolves is generally a very impatient team, and they might try to take this fight with Noct early and try to take a very disadvantaged fight against the Azami shields. That is the worst thing you can do here. You really want to just try and, you know, get the Monty up there, move slow, clear down below, get rid of tactical, and then you can really start to aggress onto there. Until then, slow down and play smart. I think if you throw too many bodies out, you're going to run into an issue. Holy shit, people believe in Wolves. 9,500? Damn, dude. Y'all believe in Wolves more than I do, and I'm actively on Wild Boys. Hey, I respect the plays. I respect the aggression on the one player. I think you do have quite a bit of damage here, and Andy's term is sort of the man you want to see aggressive in. You know, being that aggressive go-getter. But he's low now. And it does give you a little more spaces. I don't think we're going to see him really perform the same now that he's like 10 HP. You do see the first body go out, trade it right back out. Dexy is, you do lose your shield, but you do get Raptors sort of in return. You get some pipe damage running towards you is not really what you want to see. And eventually, they waste the Ash Charge. Guess you're gonna go below and shoot. Well, I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess. You do at least have a way to get the wall if you can finally get this bandit here, and there you go. The wall can now be gotten. And taken out by Andy's term as he's the aggression onto one areas. Despite the fact that he's literally 2 HP, he still takes damage to the barbed wire. Wolves are the team in favor by quite a large amount. Redemption finds a lot of picks early late on as what looked to be such a strong execute turn pretty weak as all the players that need to pop off do it just right the time. And now you have to have Zoli in a 2v1. Not really a lot of things that really advantaging him. He doesn't have what he needs to. A tactical finds it, and Redemption, the absolute dominance so far, goes on and on as I think once again you're going to see that this game is probably going to go to map 3 and pretty single-handedly. Also, if you joined on time and before the break, or during the break, you should have no ads. If you joined before then, I have nothing to. I can't do anything about that. Get sub if you're a madman, or get turbo, whatever it's called. Or use a prime sub. I don't know. I low-key forgot those existed. I'm not gonna capitulate. If you got prime, send it over my way, pretty please. Maybe I could save it for a webcam that is not 480p, because I do have a webcam, but I'm not showing a 480p webcam, respectfully. Stream sniping doesn't matter. Their delay is like 180 seconds. It went over once in staff. It doesn't matter. The staff do not care, because the time between you getting the information as a stream sniper, relaying it to your team, is so far different that nothing will ever be the same. The utility will be gone. Players will be moved in positions. Most of the rounds will probably be over by the time you see it. So I don't really see it as an issue. I don't think any other team does, really. Because by the time, like logistically, if at 180 seconds, by the time you see the information, the game has already, like, not the game, but there's already an execute going on. So could you stream snipe? Yeah, I mean, if you really, really wanted to, but nothing would really change from you seeing it. It's too late. If it was 90 seconds or like 145, not 100, 120, yeah, you could stream snipe and you could probably grab some value, but a delay of 140 something, or like 180, I think I'm at right now, is enough where no one's gonna want to stream snipe because it doesn't provide any value. I could probably kick it up to like 5 minutes if I wanted to, but to some reason, I prefer for the chat to hear my answers in existence in, you know, this period of time, not this, you know, the futuristic age. Because 5 minutes in streaming is the equivalent of going from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age. That's the equivalent, so I'm not doing all that. It's professional, but it isn't that professional. And I'm also not getting paid that much. I want to talk to my chat occasionally. My bad, yo. Overall, it's been a very basic start. I think Wolves have kind of fallen back into a more lenient personality. Now they've started down so much. I'm telling you, you guys are underrating, I think, how important having a hard support is. When you have someone like Noct who can come in and provide way more value at a much higher level, this is a huge issue. I think it's a big thing you do have to worry about. A botched opening means you will get a pretty wall either. You're going to have to do relatively bad, as you need to place it just right. So that little top bar there does also get rid of it. Said you're going to make a little bit of a... I don't even know what you do here. You can place 2 pellets, I think. Oh my god, you use 6. Well, you don't need another wall, I guess. Or it's the assumption, because who needs walls? You have a shotgun in hand from Cody, which should be a relatively big, large issue. You have 2 actually. Excuse me, ITQC with another, and hey, who needs skill when you have a shotgun in hand? And Andy's turn finds the first, maybe 2. As that Blackbeard Chill is miserable at best, and now you have ITQC to sit in the corner, maybe going to find more than one. He's in a position to find everything, but he waits, he finds some value. He's going to now sit in the corner trying to find another, but instead it's going to be traded up by Zoli. 1v4 is not left in a pretty impossible position. You at least find one. I think if this round is won, then you generally have to question if this is even winnable for Redemption at all. That kind of loss is super mentally gone for you. That hurts so much mentally. Also means that where all the bodies are eventually going to be looking towards, which is more or less Logi. Not a big wait out. And with that last to go to pop, you know exactly what's coming. You know where it's coming. You could wait it out, honestly, if you really wanted to, but you're putting a lot of pressure on a short amount of time. You're giving a chance for a comeback. So you go for Logi instead. You save a little bit of time here, but now you have to be perfect on these swings, because you're not going to be able to afford any losses. You find at least one here, but now you're going to have to run downstairs to save yourself and save face. What do you work with here when the plant's going to go down? Miracles can happen, and we might be able to see it here, but you're going to have to be perfect in a post plant. As now Miami's going to look his way towards it. They know where he is, at least. They can start boxing him in, sort of forcing him to be in the situation where he doesn't really know where to look at. He's going to have to look for something a little bit special. You might find one, but the go's going to get you low. Finish off by a Dexy, and Wolves finally find their first. 3-1. I think certainly a hell of a lot later than any Wolves fan was hoping for, but you got your round. You have a chance for comeback. If you can get another, suddenly this isn't that bad of a half. But if we do see... Alright, we're back. Stats-wise, I mean, no one's really breaking the bank or showing out like crazy I think it's been a relatively split game, despite how dominant it's been on one side. A lot of these are coming to shorter things, and you kind of see that. You do see Noct and Squirtle performing relatively well in the trades, which isn't a big surprise. I don't really think when you think Squirtle, you know, this high level of tradability and really working with a team, but he's in a system that allows him to be so. Where he doesn't really even have to think about it, he just gets these free trades. They have all the positionings just right to have someone like Squirtle, who's great with the guns, pop off. I think it's a little more strong, obviously, in the defense, but consistently you will see that. I think in the playoffs, he's sort of become, I think, a little bit less of a big factor. We normally, in the regular season, he would always be that main man. He would drop like 17 a game. No one would even touch him. So far, it's been a little bit less. It's been nowhere near as strong, and I don't even think that's a bad thing on a player. I think that's just how it's become.
5 seconds to go.
You know, I also wouldn't count out Wolves quite yet. I get that the numbers are not pretty if you are a Wild Boys fan. There's a lot you can do for here. I think that if you're a Wolves fan and if you're a Wild Boys fan, you've seen some times where these teams will go down by so many rounds, and it looks impossible, but it feels like Wolves, once they get that ball rolling, it is almost impossible to stop, and it turns into just this big snowball. Suddenly one round turns into 2, 2 to 3, and then if they get a 3-3 half, this game is, I'd argue, very advantaged towards the Wolves. But there's still a lot between that, as you still have 2 rounds you have to win. And neither of these are easy ones. These are going to easy one of these strongest sites in the game for redemption. Yeah, Sprays was subbed off after map 1 as he went like 3 and 8. He did ass. And they subbed him out entirely. You at least know the plan is. You're getting damage on Andes. You're getting everything ready for one moment. Now you gotta land it just right. You gotta stick that landing, even though it all looks good so far. That's all that matters in the very end, is that execute that true level. A team like Wolves can struggle. They don't have the advantage that they'd like to have. They normally have 2 players going to execute, and they're gonna have to commit to something with less resources than they like, less craziness. You're gonna have to do something special. And Andes finds it. Now a lot of the pressure is being relieved as everything has to be focused towards Andes. You can't afford to leave him alone. You gotta waste the C4s, the impacts, everything you have to keep him at bay, and that also means that a lot of the other side is left entirely open. Goth Girl Vex is crazy. Like, chalk it. And a misplaced Grim does not really look too well, but also shot that midair, if I'm not mistaken. Scoreboard at the bottom, genius. Also, it's 90-second delay, so you'll see it in between rounds, probably. Overall, I think ITQC seems to be the man for the job, but you have Shucks grabbing a much-needed one, and I think now the gap is a little bit too hard for most to handle, but maybe we do see a generational round. ITQC intends to make it a little bit closer, but Noct's going to go generational again if he needs it. You got to go for the crazy post-plant stop. Run up, but it doesn't matter as he's going to get it off, and you're going to have to do everything you can, but it won't matter when Shucks is there to stop it all. Once again, these rounds can look so odd, so strong for a player, and it all disappears. You know what, Scribble, do... I don't even use this one, honestly. I don't use that scoreboard. I have my own stats, because those can be off at times. Or in that case, where it's just bugged. So I don't use them, but like... Oh. Yeah, I'm already starting to get finals notes for 907. We are approaching 3.5 pages, and that's for one team. And they've only been around for 2 seasons, most of those. We're gonna see that that's not gonna be a fun game for me. I will probably have, between Champions D1, Champions D2, SSL D2, SSL D1, I will probably have 35 pages of notes. Give or take, 35, 40. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna have arthritis from writing notes for a testing year. That's what I'm saying. You weren't there for that, Shady, but I was comparing Sprays and Stretch. Every season, early on, they were unbeatable. They were some of the best at their game. They were the best support players in IGLs in their positions. And season after the season, the product has gotten lower and lower. It's turned into not the same strong thing that we see usually. Which isn't a bad thing. I think that players are sometimes they don't age well. I think there's someone that aged better. Someone like Pickles, I think, has arguably aged, better. Annie's term, I think, is arguably kind of in that uncle age where he's been around for a long time, but even then, he's not super far in. A lot of the kids that people associate with tournaments are the best. 5.2 is kind of the only big one that's a difference in, long term. What scoreboard do you want, gang? Like, goddamn. Some aggressive people here. Whatever. Live and learn. The Wolves hopefully plan to learn for themselves in the half, but Andy's turn now with a shotgun in hand, and something already in the sight is who needs some skill when you have a shotgun in hand? Also, pipe isn't really going to help you with your health, but this is where it can start to be an issue, is now you have 2 bodies down. You have all, what it looks to be everyone ready for execute, but Tactical finds one, maybe a swing in. Another one from Tactical on Logi, and now what could have been perfect, now a very iffy execute. Instead, Adexi finds 2 to make sure it's even more sure. Left in a situation where it's 1 man against 3, and he doesn't have a lot to work with here. He's going to have to kind of make everything out of nothing, but instead, Adexi finds it at Wolves, a 3-3 half. And all the dominance in the world is there. I think the numbers have been, once again, they've kind of shown it was even, even though it was a 3-1. Now we're seeing this big gap. 907 didn't even exist then. There was, at least this roster, that was Yuck or something before this, I think. Now it's 907, and then now they're kind of the unbeatable everyone hates. Not even hates, no one can beat them. It's like Obey. You hate them because you lose to them 7-2 every time. I'm just saying, if there's any 907 or Obey hate, it's probably because you're just shit. Don't shoot the messenger or the caster. Unlike Sino, I prefer to have my IP address and location in the down low. You know, I prefer to not be doxxed. Shout out to the goat, though. Oh, free smoke. Yeah, I know free smoke. Glybo is not even, he's not even a watch, he just doesn't play anywhere. He does D1 baseball? Something D1, D2 baseball, I thought. So he's off in that, and then Glybo is kind of gone. He's not gone. He's no longer anywhere near as, like, big. He went on to college, and, you know, everything else is kind of just there. Hear me out? They need to add a creator series of skins. That'd be cool.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Hey, I mean, also, if any of you want to pretty please be a mod, Glybo is, I don't even know what team he's on. 107 maybe? I don't even, I have to figure it out. Okay, I might have a development. For chance, I have to check that. We'll see. I got no statements yet. There might be a scandal looming over Redemption's heads. And yes, Andy is doing everything in his power to be what Andy is. And I'm sorry, what? What? Huh? I'm sorry, dude. So he got wallbanged through that angle. You see the bullets. Over from here. Holy shit, I would have lost it. Well, I mean, you do lose your pick, and that is a pretty unfortunate one, as you didn't even need to see anything. You just get screwed. I mean, Yuck was just Buddha's, I think, start, and then he got really good at tournaments, and then now he's really fucking good. Arguably, I think arguably the best flex player in the game, or not in the game, in at least a top like 10 flex player on console. A lot of the best players are entries, but he's a very, very big, very good player, and he plays entry consistently. He can IGL if need be. He's kind of your end-all, be-all. He's what like people think of. He's like the center version. He's the league version of center. If y'all know who center is, I don't even know where center is actually. I'm pretty sure he kind of fell off. He did not adapt as an IGL to the 3-ban system. But hey, a lot of teams struggled. I'm pretty sure he was also semi 1.5 made. 1.5 made. Ugh. You do at least have the start you want. And I think it's all going to come down to the brass tacks here. Is this isn't really going to be, I think, a game that's going to be super safe. 907. I don't know. That's a full team. Maybe old 90. I don't know. This current 907 is no. I think there's no statistical team that has ever been better. Primo Bay, I think, would struggle. I genuinely think that if Primo Bay and 907 went together, he would go 3 maps and it'd be an infinite OT game. I don't see it being a close one. Like, that team right now is so strong because you have Papa $5, Buddha, who is arguably the best flex player in the entirety of League by a good margin, arguably in the conversation for best flex in console. And then you have, arguably, I think one of the more underrated players is Jeff Sicko. Yes, he's been here for a while, but he has consistently put up good numbers. He's consistently a 1.5 player. He's consistently putting up the best numbers, or at least top 10 numbers in League. He's the worst thing to deal with, and not finds damage on the bearing 9. I'm assuming it's for the spray, but maybe he has a shotgun in hand. Excuse me if it is. And suddenly all the picks go Wolves' way as everything looked perfect until the last like 30 seconds, and that was wild. Yeah, I forgot. Delay, so y'all probably just saw the whatever the hell that shot was on yeah, you didn't even get a chance. You just get absolutely bamboozled. Unsafe. That shit's not fun. Yeah, keep a pin in that redemption possible scandal. I'm hearing an accusation that Cody right now is not actually Cody. I don't remember, man. I got a center. I know he went PC. I don't remember what he did though. No, he played. Yeah, he plays for Certified Lover Boys. I forgot, because he was with Jigsy Loyals and then like SSG Academy a while back. I want to say, like a while back, like 2023. Low-key, I do not keep up with center. He's not that good of an IG on PC. He's good, but he's not that crazy. They did actually do well against, was it Core, I want to say? I'd have to look it up in Liquipedia, but I'm pretty sure they placed like 3rd or 5th in Element 5. They're a good team. I think that's just, they've kind of fallen a little bit behind because there's so many people showing up and doing crazy. Actually, got very close. Is they almost made SI 2025 under the NA qual, the open quals at least. He was on like he was on a collegiate team at that point. I don't even think he was on a main team, I want to say. Anyways, back to the real game. Is we do have what should be a very default start, as generally Redemption don't like to shake up the world and the first little bit. I think the big issue, though, is you have so much to make up here if you're Redemption. Not because the round difference is crazy, it's only 1. But everything looked so perfect, and you threw it, and Squirtle and ITQC find 1, Andy's with another, maybe make that 2, but instead taken up by Cody. Make that 2 for Cody is... Wolves finally look like they've been beaten for once, and the team that was indomitable looks like they finally have some weakness in them. Maybe there's some blood in the water here, and there's truly some weakness for a team that is like almost impossible to beat these past couple rounds. Eventually finish off by Noct. Does Redemption look up? He's on PC and Cody. I'm here. An accusation came out that Cody is not Cody. That was the words I heard. Which, interpret that how you will. I don't even... All I know is he used to be on Karn & Co, I think. I don't know. I've trying to keep track of every single player is kind of hard. I'm a hard nerd, like a hard nerd about this kind of thing, but no, he was on Karn & Co in like 2024, I thought, right? Yeah, because then he went with
Attackers need to locate.
he was on CL4L? Holy shit! Excuse me. Oh no, literally never mind. It was CL4L, and then they all just went to no, most of them went to the Washington Wizards, and then they went their own ways. Might be. Oh, what's going on? I can check viewer history. I think post the fact if I need to, because I have stream elements up. So if someone is stream sniping, they ain't safe. Anyways, Buida, Dean, Dracon. Yeah, we're chill. Okay, I thought for a second I had to worry about someone is trying to stream stuff. I'm like, I said I could. I said you could. But it also doesn't look too great, to be honest. I'll take the free viewers, though. If the delay is enough where I don't care, I don't think anyone else would care. But I also would vouch for whoever joined if it was stream sniping, because the delay is that crazy. If they want to see the reactions, I don't care. It's like 185 seconds. You're not getting any value out of it. Oh, okay, we're cool. No code red for Cody. He's just on a different account? Whatever. Not my place to ask. No, he's on Cody PC something, blah, blah, blah. Cody PCN. We do at least have, I think, the big plan here, which is try and go strong, try to end this in a really strong format. You want to find something here if you're Redemption to try to get yourself to a match point. But, you know, I don't think you can ever be too safe right now. It looked so perfect for Wolves. And then I think that little stunt is maybe going to set them back a little bit more than I think people are giving them credit. You had the momentum, but when you have something stunted like that strongly, a lot of questions can be put into play. And suddenly, if we see a good round or even a close round here from either team, nothing is really safe. If it's a dominant, like, you know, 5-1 or 5v1 for Redemption or Wolves, then yeah, I would argue this one is probably pretty close to over. But even then, I think these teams are in a dominant enough state where nothing is truly given. Nothing on the wall would also be a given, but you do have to get one man over there. And Cody's way over in cash. I don't know what his plan is if he wants that wall. But I don't think that is the big plan, is you have tactical in an area, and it looks like everything is kind of looking towards Logi running, and maybe not a bad idea. You have a bailiff in hand trying to find something, but I don't really think it's going to be the best way to do it. The big problem is you have to look at two different angles. If you're a player, Miami does find one to give them what they need, but you're always going to have to look at more than one spot, and Cody does find it. He's going to abuse that shield as much as he can, and Miami does find the shield. It's a 3v2, excuse me. And now you're in a situation where you're going to have to count perfection here. Shucks could find one and make this pretty over, but it doesn't look safe as no team can find that advantage. Cody gets two. Make that a quad for him as he plans to go for the ace. Shucks put in a situation where he might not be able to do anything. Cody finds an ace. Someone stop the man. That's why I said it's 180 seconds. Can't snipe genius. Friend Vex. Well, Redemption, you know, who needs a team? Yeah, what's a team? You have Cody. Who needs a team? For that does also save his stat line from what has been a very boring game from him. So, hey, that's what I heard, gang. People are arguing if stream sniping with a delay is stream sniping. I mean, it's different than, what's his name? Snoozy, because he was stream sniping a player with no delay, which is really bad, but I don't think either team is really going to try unless they want the reactions, which, thank you, I will take the viewers. I will gladly take the viewers, but either way, it's not a big deal to me. If y'all follow or sub, I don't think I can see them, actually. I don't know why. My stream element is screwed up right now. Chalk it. Whatever. Sub for no ads, and who am I kidding? I run like 3 minutes of ads on the hour. It's not like I'm I was gonna say if I run like 12 minutes of ads, maybe you can consider it, but like 3 minutes? Well, not like 5, I think. If you want to sub for 5 minutes of ads, I mean, free will, but like, you do you, I guess, is what I'll say. I'd take a sub, but like, that does not mean I'm about to say it's a good idea. On finals, if you sub, yeah, that makes sense, because it's going to be a long day, and you will probably genuinely watch 20 minutes of ads. Probably. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe 907. Maybe it turns into like an Obey 619 game where it's kind of just a beat down all the way through. And we see a forfeit, kind of, which that'd be one hell of a thing to see. ITQC finds the first. Excuse my gibberish at this point. Is we're approaching a point where I have to get T now because my voice is killing me. You at least find one pick if your needs to get it right back to even. I don't think either team intends to give up some free bodies at this point. This is all too close for any team to want to do much, and Redemption do have the advantage here if they can get themselves a match point. Suddenly you have a map 3 with the most unknown we've seen in a long time, I think, for any team. There's only out of the season with these same rosters, only 2 plays combined with teams, 1 each. We don't know how anything like Chalet would go. Because the loss for Wolves, yes, it was a loss. They lost to 907 and it was 7-5. That is one of the hardest scores that 907 has had the entirety of so far. So, you know, Redemption did win, but I'm pretty sure it was against a bum team. Just a question of, really? Can you pull it out? But we'll see. You still, I think I have every single little ingredient to make a good win here, to make a very strong map 3 push. It's got to be perfect. And I think that the big thing to look for if you are Redemption fans is look at the change that was brought from one man changing. Spray to Knocked was easily the biggest step that they could have had, and you're seeing that. And they got so much value because he can flex around more, he can be more consistent, he can play more ops and genuinely frag out. He's everything you wanted, and now you have that, and you can see that. Suddenly these teams are all neck and neck. What in the hell is that Twitch emote? I don't even know what my eyeballs are witnessing. I feel unsafe watching it. Whatever. Execute comes in, I assume, is 45 seconds. 45 seconds means it's going to loom over. Squirtle finds a very much needed pick as you're going to try to find the gap, and all the picks are going your way. You do at least have Zoli to clean it back up and get the numbers a little bit closer, but as long as you're smart here, this one should be a pretty good single-handed one for Redemption, but instead, Adexi finds one, and suddenly it's going to become all too close as Adexi and Zoli have been in these situations, and we genuinely see a great player from both in these higher pressure situations. But you might be able to find 2 as everything lines up for Knock. The support player comes into the big play, and now match point for Redemption as a little bit of struggling in between, but you now have everything here for your map 3. You have the last little push. 1 round, and suddenly your chance. Your chance to finally show up on the biggest stage. You know, map 3, infinite overtime on the play. If we get infinite overtime in map 3, I might bust. I'm not gonna cap. No glaze, but like map 3 semifinals, and I'm casting finals too. Like I'm about to have some joyous ass things happening. Jump for joy. I don't got a webcam though, so joking. Because respectfully, if for any caster, I feel it's the need to have like 4 different weird stickers or images of them, like we do have with Sino. No hate to the man, he's an amazing caster. But having the webcam does create memeable moments. And that shit's funny as hell. I'm not saying I don't have my own, but like,
Attackers have located a bomb.
you know. Let's see if I can find something fun in this setup. Or is this the same? Wolves. No Scopos, so the roam will probably be Andy.
10 seconds left.
No, he'll probably lurk. He won't roam. I guess you have an Adexi roam, maybe? He could play main and lurk. This is probably just going to be a too high lurk.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, both players lurk up on the stairs and maybe have like Andy's turn move up, but otherwise you might have most of your players sit down here or bunker. I know their playbooks most of the time. Or I know their defaults. Most of the team's defaults. Plus you can generally guess with the play styles and the stats I have of who's playing where. Generally. However, in grand finals, most of that goes kind of out the window. And with either of these teams, actually, statistically, most of the time, 907 has a much larger advantage, but I think that for once in grand finals, 907 will run into a team that doesn't have a significant, like, disadvantage in terms of stats. Does that mean everything? God, no. Stats can be fraudulent as hell. NLG X-Force was not a bad stats team. In general, with a strong team and strong stats, sort of like a confirmation. I'm just saying something could happen. Or we could maybe see Not go crazy, too. That'd be fun. That might be the weirdest angle I've ever seen to get a Habana pellet, but you got them, and that was almost perfect to be entirely fair. I don't think anyone could have asked for more, but you do get the hatch, actually. No impact trick, nothing sent towards it, and you also get the first pick. That's Wolves areas. They're trying to keep themselves away from a match point. They want to keep themselves maybe with, you know, a 2-0 win in hand, but I feel like you've let the team get all too much momentum. You've let everything sort of go their way for so long. You have a lot more to stop at this point. I mean, you have Shucks here, who I think can probably be the big impact player you want to see. He's kind of in a position here where wherever he plays, he's going to run into a body. That might be worth quite a bit. But the aggression from Shucks immediately shut down by Squirtle, and suddenly you have players aggressing on a site. This is your worst case scenario happening very early. I don't know, what is Andy's term like? He's... Wow, okay. I suppose when in doubt, expect Andy's in aggression. That's what he does best, and he's going to find ITQC there, getting themselves the advantage that they really want here. You get the pipes to at least a little bit of damage, but verticality is being taken on you. You're low as you could ever be. Andy's in a situation where he wouldn't want to be. Noct finds it. The support player apparently being better than most of the frags. I mean, in the right position at the right time, I suppose, and a Dexy now, and I think what is a bit of a do or die is these teams need to lock in. Wolves need to show that they can even handle it. All the pressure on a team, all of everything right here. And Buddha's kind of watching, I guarantee you, to catch the glimpse of his team that he's going to have to fight. And Noct finds one. It's a 2v1. Everything could happen here, but it's a 1v1 left down to one person. Zoli finishes the double, and you really are going to cut it close. Terrifying everyone in Redemption and Wolves, and we're going to go to max regulation. What else could you be happy for? Come on now. Max regulation? Jumping up for joy at this point. This is what everyone wants to have in a game. So, you're going to get that. Which is going to be, in my opinion, pretty awesome. You get almost a full amount of rounds. With infinite overtime, maybe we can sneak into a little bit more, but you never know. What are you talking about? By the way, while we're in between of these maps, or in between these rounds, tip of the day, listen to Clips' his new album. Amazing stuff. If you're into some more rap. It was that or like, I don't know, probably like Die Lit, honestly. But I'm feeling something a little bit different. There's only so many times I can listen to Lean For Real before I want a little break. Just kidding, I'm not that big of a Cardi fan, but it's still got some good songs in there, some good bops. Overall, it looks to be the same sort of hold. You do not normally see a Dexy on the Azami. That is a little bit more of an oddball, but it isn't a big surprise as much as I can sometimes shit down on him and shit talk. He's a great player at adapting. I think there's a good reason to give him that. He can kind of adapt to the situation, become his own annoyance. He can be his own annoying force because what are you going to do in sometimes? Gaudy silence, bro. Worst advent and got absolutely obliterated. Tisk. That's what you get for getting first rounded. Naughty boy. Or, sorry, second rounded. Then you have Andy's turn, who's trying to band trick here, but he might not have it as so close, but he's at in a position where the animation took a little bit too long because he's got to go into the right place, and now you have the wall if you're the wall if you're Redemption. This is a great start as you're getting all of the gaps you needed. Now it's got to be down to those good executes as you have now Noct, who has been the support player, or at least expected to be, subbing in for sprays, but instead you're seeing everything that's unexpected happen. Pretty odd path, but you're getting done at least where you need to be in. Now you have Andy's turn in the situation where he can kind of be the make or break for a round. He can be everything you wanted or your worst nightmare. You know, you could have yourself a double here, time delayed, and perfection. Instead, you're going to see a fallback, which I think is a bit of a blunder, honestly. I think giving the space up so early is going to cause issues. I know Dexy might be able to find something on the pixel with the Azami is giving himself a lot of his space. Shucks, my God, Shucks and Noct each find one, and much more important kills as Andes goes down, and this is the worst way you could ask for it, but a Dexy, Squirtle, all these bodies go out. Squirtle finds another in a 3v2. This one could be very, very winnable here, but you just gotta not throw your bodies as you already have one down. Andy's turn is gone, and with a nade, that means it's all down to just one man as the Dexy has to catch it all out, but instead it's done at 7-5, and suddenly we go to map 3. The dominance reigns on longer as The subbing for sprays meant the world apparently, as now we have map 3. What we get. The likeliness was actually relatively high, but you're gonna be glad when you get it. You get a little bit of scoreboard, and you go to a map break.
This is Sprays, and this is the Counting Cards Podcast Week 1. Today we have with us Brian from Wild Boys. The
Hello.
leader. Let's start simple, though. Who are you?
My name's Brian. I am the CEO / chairman of the Wild Boys organization / LLC.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's look to the past.
Okay.
So how did you start the org? How did it come to be?
How did I start the org? Well, funny enough, one day I was with a group of friends called friends mentioned like, what the fuck is that? So I pulled up his Twitch, and he said something about like a $50,000 like game. I was like, what? There's no way. So me going into Discord and going around, I went through the main art server on Discord, and then I got recruited by forgot what org it was, but some small org where me, Knight, and Toxic were, when we get farther into the podcast, they'll become relevant. Recruited from, play with them. Well, we joined this org together, and we were sitting there, and like, oh, okay. I'm learning how leagues work, on who runs things. I was like, I want to do this. So one day I was like, yo, Knight, Toxic, if I make an organization, will you guys join? And they were like, hell yeah. And now, that's the beginning of Wild Boys right there.
How many teams did you have in the beginning?
Okay, so in the very beginning of Wild Boys, I didn't understand on necessarily comp work. I thought if I get 5 players, I didn't understand that you had to have the best of the best, or they all had to be champ. So me, Knight, and Toxic decided to make 23 teams in Wild Boys when we first started. And half the team were silver, couple plat, and 1 diamond. Then through the became more knowledgeable comp scene, and now I hear we have teams.
So also go off of that. Is there like one player or a specific player or specific team that helped you gain popularity?
Yes. So, are you guys familiar with the guy named Cosmic?
A little.
Yes.
Okay. So Cosmic, one day I was sitting there on Wild Boys posting looking for org / players. I was going, hey, join Wild Boys. We're this and that. Cosmic reached, and his time was called back. And in my teams, I'm like, look, I help you accept. Help me out. Well, Cosmic, me, Knight, and Toxic all got in a VC, and we talked. And next thing later, Code Black joined Wild Boys, and from there, we took off like a rocket ship. I think we went from 50 people in our Discord server to 500 in a matter of 2 months. When I say we skyrocketed, it was very fast.
All right.
Crazy.
And so you kind of contribute your success a little bit to picking up Code Black and all that, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Without
right.
Cosmic, we would have had a very rough start. Absolutely, 100%.
All right. And
Okay.
kind of going back to your players a little bit, who was your like favorite when your org was still developing? If you had to pick, if you had to.
Ooh, see, I can't answer that because
Can't answer.
you got to realize.
I understand. Yeah.
From an org owner, if I pick one person, the other person will be like, "Oh, I thought you liked me," and it's just gonna start little fights, and we'll stay away from that conversation.
We'll stay away from the drama of the podcast. It's only episode 1.
Yep.
And we're back. Maybe not in the same format that was expected, but you did get there. Oh, hold on, I gotta go add everyone for map 3. What the fair? What? This is the size y'all agreed to. What are we leaving for? We're just gonna assume that bans are gonna go on normally. Cause I ain't assuming nothing but that. Kind of bitches that you know about. Oh yeah, I can do polls. I forgot. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've tagged at everyone like 4 different times, so if y'all have been tagged and you guys are both in what the fuck are we? Okay, we're not leaving. I thought it was about to be another leave and I was gonna tweak. We're chilling. Tell you, mama. Tell you, dad. On, yeah, I'll pull it. I'll pull it. I don't know how many of you can even pull, as you all are broke now. Broke bitches, as I say. Broke bitch. Redemption 1.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Who even gets the points? I don't know. Y'all are just gonna have to figure out who gets points. Okay, 5 minutes. Go. There, pull is out. I will be watching to see what we see. Yeah. No, Legion Shotgun is not being abused by Charlie. It was on knock once, but like, so far it's been kind of chillax. It's been a little bit ridiculous. It's a little wild, honestly. I kind of like it, the idea of him being an X Factor because he uses the shotgun too well. I don't disagree. Also, I opened the poll, so y'all better pull your way up. Poll time, baby. That sounds... I gotta stop. I gotta think of a better name. Whatever. Wolves with the first vote. That's it? Really? 180? Oh, some peasantry over here. It's free points and y'all are still acting broke. There's some sad times. There's some sad, sad times. Oh, Nike. What's up? Not the person I expected, but I'll take it. I keep thinking of that one screenshot I sent in general. Oh, that's funny. The face filters are never not going to be funny, Nike. I want you to know that. That's just beautiful. Okay, let's at least see what we're going to have on the side of Wolves. This should be a relatively good start, but instead you see ITQC finds Zoli, and what is a bit of a freebie. And apparently Spider-Man repelling does work every once in a while at the highest level, because why would it not? So that fits. And nades go rise. You have one man who's getting everything sent at him. 2 nades and a Squirtle running rampant. Suddenly all those picks go your way. Now you have 2 players as an advantage, and you might have Cody be a little bit low and a little bit unsafe to an Dexy impact, but yeah, no, so I saw that 6K bet, bro. I know you're chalked, don't worry. I respect the fact that you're chalked now. You're in the trenches now. You gotta wake your way up. And maybe not bet on Wolves this time. Or do. I don't know. Maybe they got it. You never know. I think we're going to see a close game, as this one has been relatively, I think, well projected. And this is one of the very few times I don't even have good stats to show. There isn't that many stats to show in the first place for either of these teams on Chalet. Squirtle does find another. And when in doubt, expect Squirtle to kind of be a pain in the ass, and Cody at least finds some with his nades. Apparently we're going to trap everybody off, and a plant looks actually relatively like here, as ITQC is kind of the man to do it. It's all just about timing and placement, as it's a 1v5 and now in Miami, and I don't know what he's going to have to pull. He's going to have to find some miracles, but instead he's going to miss everything on tactical, and suddenly Redemption find the first and a flawless. Wait. I mean, it would surprise me, honestly. If I could consider it. I honestly think that if you do ban Nook here for the thing, the problem is that you just kind of have... What do you mean the bitrate looks... No, I know it's not on my end, because it's 7K. That's like the close to maximum. 8K is max. And 6K is not what I used to run 8K. I'm at 7500 bitrate. It's 500 bitrate. That is almost impossible to see. So I'm chalking it up to your internet for once. Also because my internet cannot handle 8000 bitrate for 2 different streams unless I want to like absolutely destroy my internet for my game. And I also don't have Ethernet really conveniently available, so unless my dad wants to see a 50-foot cord run through the entirety of the house, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be no Ethernet for now. Hey, maybe for finals I get some sexy Ethernet cable. That'd be kind of funny. I'm pretty sure my dad would murder me. Pause. No, it's still up at like... It's still up. It's redemption poll is still up, 86% for redemption. There we go. Also, I just realized I don't have anything separated. I don't know. I mean, I think the Habana trick is, it's good, but like, we've seen enough teams fail where it's kind of just a scary thing to do. And you also shoot Cody just for the fun of it. Andy's turn in a situation I think he loves to be in where he's kind of put in a weird one, but Cody finds another one on to the next scene said his 1-0 brother gets gone. Is it pin? I don't know how to do that, to be entirely fair. So Andy's turn once again. I don't even know why you're unshielding against this man. I don't even, what's the plan? Like, you're not winning the fight against Andy's in a direct 1v1. Oh, can one of y'all send a quick ban to, Gulia, can you do that, pretty please? Yeah, phone shock. It's not me for once. The bitrate's 7,500. How is the bitrate shocked? I'm gonna lose it at this point. 7,500 bitrate and it's shocked? It's 500 difference, dude. Whatever. Now back to the games. We do see the first picks go out, but what matters is Andy's turn. Once again, why even give this man an ACOG at this point? Just give him anything. All right, Spoofer. That parlay. Low-key, I gotta put a parlay up for final game. For grand finals parlay. Hear me out. And now you feel very unsafe because Shucks is literally... He is not being hit by the nomad, but he cannot move. If he moves, he'll get... If he moves, he gets nomaded. If he stands up, apparently not nomaded, he gets right on his ass cheek, though, as he literally could not do anything but sit there. All right, dude. Gotti, you are not getting the glaze. Oh, that's actually kind of entertaining. Look, we might have to do a glaze round, guys. You might be onto something. You do at least know what the plan is, and you do find another. Is Andy's turn once again. Who needs other players? You have Andy's turn to do it all. Well, you do have Squirtle, who might be able to win a 2v1, but this is not looking pretty. You're going to have to win a hell of a fight, but you beat one. You're looking for the quad, and that would be one hell of a start. Maybe, maybe not. You never know, but you do at least see where he is, and now you're going to have to make the aggression play. You're going to have to go for it, and Squirtle absolutely bitches, destroys Miami. Pretty big round, and Redemption look, I think, very strong like last time. We'll see. I mean, I could, but like, I don't really want to spend $140 for a good router. I don't want to. I don't want to spend that kind of money. I don't have a good router. You never know. I don't know. Opinions, I guess. Stats-wise, it's been kind of bland. I'm a little bit surprised.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Aggro. I mean, I think the issue is you're trying to aggro against Andy's turn. Like, I get that, yes, normal aggro, sure, but this is the greatest playoff player in the league, and you're going to try to take a 1v1 on him? Get some flashes. Get another teammate. Do anything but swing him alone. At that point, let me swing, because at least I'll be a sacrificial body instead. There's literally no logical way to win a fight against Andy's turn if it's just a straight one-on-one. The odds are not in your favor. This is not Hunger Games. The odds will never be in your favor if you're swinging it. Yeah, Push. I'm pretty sure your stats are actually, like, miserable on Blackbeard, so that's actually kind of accurate. It's not 0-6, but, like, Yeah, hop that ass back on Blitz, not Blackbeard, folks. I think Blackbeard is an art form. A broken art form, nonetheless, if you know what you're doing, but a broken art form.
Attackers recovered the
And it looks to be the relatively same sort of play. You have your two-man aggression upstairs, generally. We could even see, I think, Shucks move up, or we could see someone like a Dexy maybe flank. But we'll probably see just those two upstairs. Not finds the first one. I think is a bit of an odd one, but get your picks how you can. You do get rid of Andy, so take what you can get. Dude, Andy is not selling your parlay. Andy is the parlay at that point. He's the over-under of like 15 kills, and that's actually kind of reasonable. I mean, he averaged 13 a game in playoffs last season. He averaged like, I think it was like 12 and a half before that. At this point, put like 12 and a half or 13 and a half as your over-under for him, and that's it. You do at least have a lot of pre-fires, and you certainly scare Miami, but I don't know what you're going to find there is not really anyone has been given up. I don't think anyone is really going to give anything because, one, Redemption don't want to lose their massive advantage. Pause. And Wolves preferably don't want to see the numbers. But nonetheless, they still find two. And a quick 1-2 of Shucks and Miami both finding what they need. And losing Squirrel and ITQC is certainly going to hurt here, as now you do have a much, much less strong sort of play. Your main aggression is gone, and I don't know. I mean, I think the bigger issue is, what are you going to do here if you're Redemption? You already have low picks, and this one can be very, very easy for Shucks. He does find the big numbers, and suddenly the advantage goes your way, and now you're going to have to pull something crazy, but instead, Shucks finds another on a tactical and a 1v4, finish off by an Dexy C4, and Wolves get that first round. Actually, have y'all watched Esports World Cup? Hear me out. That's low-key the play. Y'all got to lock in. Esports World Cup is actually goated. I watched it. And, listen, say what you will about Saudi Oil Run. But they look awesome. That LAN tournament setup is sexy as hell. You seen those screens, man? Like, damn. Damn. All the stats you could display. Good times. I'm over here with a Viso 720p TV as my second monitor with OBS and my stats on it in chat. That's it, folks. We're not exactly working with you know, these crazy levels of strats here, or production. My production is more of a jury rig, duct tape, and prayer sort of thing. Lock in. Yeah, a hell of a lot of betting on Redemption, which, I mean, I could see it, honestly. I get the logic. Give him a second stim gun with M99. And I'm not sure this.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as
Hey, no, make a Bay Harbor, make a Dexter collab. Hear me out. That'd be kind of cool. Dexter collab. I'd buy that. Dexter collab Doc. That's like young Dexter. Okay, now I'm more concerned, Gotti. You need to stop simping over every single dude that hops in the chat. First was Bueta, then it was Dean, then it was, I don't know, whoever else you're gonna decide. It's more concerning at this point. As we all have our weird things. This happens just to be dudes. I know hate here.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I mean, overall, I think this kind of looked good for Wolves, despite the, obviously, loss of rounds. I think everything is sort of falling into place, and a team like Wolves, they never play Chalet. Redemption at least plays it sometimes in other leagues, but Wolves genuinely never plays it. Or as you might know them as King Von's Disciples. They go by 2 different names. Same team. Literally the exact same team. I don't even know what they're going to be called next season. Redemption are probably going to be called, I think it was Wild Boys 6-7. I wish I was kidding. That's probably going to be the plan, so. Hey, it's not as bad as that 6-7 water. It's just deadass water. But you got to do you, I guess. And I think the stats have certainly looked like one man has sort of been the domination. No one's really surprised. It's who you expected. It's the MVP candidate. And he's one of the strongest players in the league. No shit, I'm yapping. That's my job. Squirtle finds a bit of a free cutoff as you take the picks you get and you keep running with them. But Squirtle with a 1.58 match rating, or as some of you might know, EPS. EPS is generally you times that by 100. it ranges. There's a couple of different things you can put in there if you're doing, depending on the match rating. And I'm not doing all that because I enjoy life and not doing this for anything else but grand finals. Sexy stats. Yeah, I could see like a Halloween thing. Doc is Dexter. I don't know. I'm not against it. I'm low-key thinking about it. I think we just need to see a big step up from Andes, and so far he's kind of been put down. Not so much as like a he's useless now, but he's not really the same dominant. Ooh, no one wants to do anything. Like you don't even want to step near him. He's now just a bit of a worry, not exactly terrifying. Is that a bad thing? No, not every single. That was the weirdest fucking moan I've ever heard. Excuse me, but like, what? Getting moans in my game, please. I want to cast Siege, not hear whatever that was. And the pre-fire does go out, and this is just barely off as you could have caught a Dexy, but instead, you're gonna have to fight a Fenrir, and not really a good spot is you literally can't look one good way. The Dexy here is kind of an option where I think everything could go right or wrong. All up to him, and the problem is you have two players on half wall. You are literally boxed in, and you can't really look one way while being smart. Miami, ITQC, all fine picks. 2v4 for Wolves, and winnable, but you're gonna have some big plays here. Instead, Miami gets caught out. Your big play was gone, and it's a 1v3 for Limitless or Zoli, as some of you might know him as. And this is where you really have to question how far can you go with just one man. Dominance is a big thing, but this is beyond dominance at this point. Zoli's gonna have to perform perfection, but he finds the first. He might find two, but instead he whiffs on ITQC, and that's all we see is Redemption looking strong. 907 is statistically probably the strongest team in terms of odds for winning SSL. I have to do the numbers for past seasons because I don't have like season 4 and 3 and 2. I want to say I have them at like a 68 point something. I think it's like a 6 something per chance to win. Also remember that my prediction to win is also based on averaging of a lot of stats and formulas, and I am but one singular person doing all of these, so if there's some discrepancies or... Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Okay, that was almost really bad. I didn't even notice until the last second, so... We figured it out, I think. What's... Okay, Miami had to restart, and I mean, 10 seconds delay? Hell no. I mean, he's Andy's term. Are you really going to win that fight either way? But like, still, hell no. If it's 10 seconds, what the fuck are you so angry about? A little aggression here from everyone else is, not everyone's too happy, but I think that this team is probably one of the strongest. Either of these are what I'd consider that second tier of true levels of teams. Let's go through it. I will leak a little bit of the booster stuff. Forgive me. If I can find them even. I might not even. There we are. No ratings. What am I looking for? I'm just waiting for this shit to get back up. Oh, this was Finest. Okay. Finest is... I agree with most of it. Damn. Seriously, Andy's turn... Excuse me. So apparently, Andy's turn was awful in the mid-season here. I Obey apparently had some motivation issues, so that would make sense, but like, a 0.97. Shocking. Ugh. Sorry, 9.4. Excuse me. Ew. I look at that and I think disgust. But you certainly seem to perform in the playoffs as who cares what happens in the regular season when you drop 15 a game. It's always a good option. I'm also going to assume that we're ready to go, and we are. Get back into our game, this time on time. Everyone's happy.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Oh, I low-key forgot I was pinging. I probably shouldn't have pinged at everyone, believe it or not. Bad idea, maybe. Sad times. Whatever. Forgive me, Sino, for pinging you a bajillion times. No hate, no hate. I love my King Sino. He introduced me to... That's not true. Or introduced me to casting, then Sino. Kind of helped me, like, actually do my thing. When in doubt, ask Sino for questions about casting, because that man knows all. It's the casting encyclopedia of console, or T3. Pick your poison. Ugh, damn, my knees are killing me today. I'm a little bit surprised by the poll, though. I honestly expected a little bit more look for Wolves, but I guess the life there is not there today. Not the hope you'd hope to see. Also, y'all should low-key follow my kick. I don't even know if I can do that. I'm pretty sure I get in trouble for that, but, like, trust. Pretty please. So I can get monetized there, too. Collecting quadruple monetization. Oh, that's entertaining. I'm also doing TikTok, I think. I'm streaming to, like, 12 different places. I kind of forgot. I'm like 4. 5? 4? I don't know. It's at a point where it's confusing. I think there's a lot of hope, though, for a team here, and I think that Wolves, if they can at least get one more round here, is just fine. If you go into a 2-4, it's still very winnable. Past that, I don't know. You're going to start to question a lot, but... I'll see a very long ping from Cody as you do see what should be Shucks, if I'm not mistaken. Just barely. You see his feet, and he can't see you for a line now. You just keep that ping up, and nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. Still sitting in the corner, and with an easy pre-fry, this one should be a freebie fry TQC, as he had no way of knowing. I have Zoli, who could also probably find something here, but I think he's a little bit more iffy, as you're going to have to work with something a little bit more special. You have to improvise a little bit more with what he has, and I2QC finds another, because who needs anyone else, but have your role players do your jobs, tactical Squirtle, and it's a 5v1, and you might be able to save the numbers a little bit, but this is all but over, as you do at least lessen the blow. You make it look a little bit better in the stat sheet, but this was dominance from the start, as Redemption have themselves, which should probably be a 4-2. Max. Obviously, you got to swing these, and it's kind of just aggression. You kind of have to just pray for it. But you're trying to take a fight against Squirtle, and there's a reason he's an MVP candidate. He wins, and 4-2 half. Assuming. Well, let's not assume, yeah. You can maybe see a 5-1 map 1. Which I'd hope not. I kind of hope for a, close map 2, and Wolves could come back, but this doesn't look pretty so far. But once again, it feels like we're seeing 4-2 halves every 3 seconds, and then the other team comes back, so... Maybe it's a good omen if you're a Wolves fan. I don't know. There's still hope for both teams. Just maybe not as much as you'd hope. Because as much as I love stats, I cannot calculate hope. As we've seen when teams will win 4 straight for no reason. Some things.
Attackers need to locate and
I just forgot. Because I accidentally added... I have it set to so I can add them both at the same time. So... all the casters, so Sino and 4 got added like 7 times. It was like 7 or 8 times for the game. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all are watching, this is my apology, officially. That is absurd. Y'all do not deserve 8 pings at the same time. That's some concurrent sadness. No more pings, I promise. Instead, I'll just annoy the entirety of my chat. That works too. Come on now. Y'all tune into the game. On like ESPN here, like NFL or like YouTube TV or something. You can't watch anywhere else, so you're going to be forced to do it this way. Great way to keep your audience in good spirits. Monopolize. Top tier capitalism here, folks. Top tier capitalism. What else would I be without it? I mean, start-wise, once again, the similarities between Redemption and Wolves is a little bit more than you'd think in terms of defense. They're not crazy different. I think the roam numbers are different, but otherwise the ops stay relatively the same. You still have your go what feels like every single round. You still have your basic ops. I'm just saying, it's there. However, you do really want this round if you're Wolves. Because if you see Redemption go up 5-1... you're looking for miracles at that point. That's not reasonability, that's praying. You do lose the first pick, but I don't know if they can finish that there, actually. An Ash Charge won't do it, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't have a long enough range, which means you can't find that pick. And he does get up, which does hurt if you are Squirtle. Could have had it, but instead you're now going to have to deal with it because they even have a dock, so you did literally nothing. 0. All of those bullets and all that hope for a downed player that got revived and docked? I don't know. You're not exactly looking at the greatest show on turf. You do see the feet, and if you're finding this, you're going to look for one of the most ridiculously tight angles on the planet. Problem is that the borders on this game can be a little iffy, so you're probably not going to hit anybody. You see Zoli run away as Annie finds the first, finally coming a little bit more back into his own as you do find ITQC. Much needed pick, but Miami has literally just stammed everyone up because who needs to worry about damage and who needs to worry about downs when you can just get res right back up? Beautiful for the side of Wolves and kind of miserable if you're Redemption, honestly. You also really didn't want to lose ITQC as you wanted to have that big move here to try to block it off. You know, block off space you already had or separate the site. And so you can see Andy's turn take one with a shotgun. Super shorty, I guess, is better than nothing, but certainly got to question the plays. And Andy's turn is just aggressing on everyone, 4v1, and Tactical could certainly find something, but the odds of him pulling another generational close, you know, comeback is kind of unlikely. You never know, but this one doesn't look likely. Miracles aside, the stats don't support it. And when in doubt, this one looks all but over. As finally, Wolves have a little bit of life, maybe a little bit later than they hoped for, but going into the next half, going in strong is always a good start. As Miami finishes and Wolves with a 4-2 half. Why am I getting pinged, bro? I forgot that if you get followered, you can't turn off subscriber notifications, or like not subscribe, but like live notifications. I get that there's like a point to it, but like low key add that, because even I get annoyed with that sometimes. Oh, numbers wise, it has been kind of a slog. No team has really taken the advantage, so we just sit here with a lot of question marks. Except Tactical. He has been absurd at the trades with 11-3. 2 refrags. He's essentially been the entirety of the team's trading, as everyone else has struggled a lot. But who needs it? You know, who needs a team to trade when you have one man to do it all? Hey, let's just have a carry, like sort of like I would say Pickles on Voltage, but that team was at least kind of generally fine. I don't know. It still astonishes me to this day that I'm looking at stats and numbers and I just see prediction. I think I had like 7-5 Obey winning, and that would have given them playoffs, and then they lose it. Whatever. Certainly a little bit of a sad end to a season if you're an Obey fan, but I think in the same breath you can also realize they're probably going to be back with a vengeance, so we'll probably see a Revenge Tour, and we'll probably see Andy Sturm go for 400 kills and break the record 12 times more. I don't know. Honestly, I could see him breaking a kill record, though. That would be unlikely. That'd be pretty likely. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen the kill record broken. We got close in a Humbugs game out of all things. It was Humbugs Obey. We got really close because it went match, like, rounds, or max rounds, but that's it. Otherwise, we have never even gotten close to that kill record that would have set. Last year, secondary semifinals, it was the Spartacus record. It was like 26. I want to say 26. I want to check that actually now because I feel the need to be right. Come on, be right about my numbers. It's like the one thing I do right. Come on. Come on, give me it. Where's records? Records. Yes! Oh my god, I'm so amazing. 87, damn. But no, that one was set by, yeah, Bueta secondary finals, Barras. Yeah, I was right, okay. Certainly, I think a bit of a strong start, and sadly, I don't think we're going to see any records broken today, unless we see a generational start or change from maybe one of the front runners here, like Andy's term, Tactical could maybe, Limitless maybe. It doesn't look likely today. Not any records are any broken, as the BO3s are not strong enough, and you know, I like how we reached a point where we now have the strongest. I don't think, like, because we have 2 flawless teams. One of them is 5.2, which is more just a, oh well, it kind of always happens. Limitless, not all get bodies, and make that 2 with ITQC, and everyone gets a little bit of a fair share, and all the damage going out. Noct is just giving himself a bit of absolute plays, getting the numbers he needs, and now you're in a 2v4. Redemption looking to like maybe have their number here as Dex is left in a 1v4, and this one should be all but over, as you might be able to find 1, 2, or even 3. But all the questions are up there is, what can you really do? Caddy is crazy. Oh. Cody is not like that, bro. He's good, but he's not that crazy. But this one does end, and this is where I think you have to start worrying if you're Wolves. This was supposed to be, I think, a team that, post the free agency pickups, were probably the strongest team in from those pickups. Only rivaled by like 907 because they picked up Jeff Sicko, and it's Jeff Sicko, so, you know, no shit. But I mean, Wolves had, I think, every single number in them. They picked up Joey after apparently using voodoo magic to convince him to come back to life. They have Redemption, what looked to be strong first map, and it feels like we've slowly just degraded from that same level. Oh yeah, and the occasional scoreboard show, just because I can. I forgot about that. And this is where it starts to get worrisome is, what do you do here? It's 2-5. There's not a lot of space you can even afford to lose here anymore, as Wolves have everything they need to do and none of the time left. And that's where it gets scary. But you never know. Grand finals, I think, is... I think what both these teams are looking for, you know, towards, despite their immediate game right in front of them, both of them are interested to see how can they handle the, I think, kind of like the indomitable team, the team that no one has really been able to even touch. No singular overtime ever so far this season. So far, the closest they had is a 7-5 3 different times, but the second they get those, you know, second they hit match point, they come back more than 3 rounds half the time, so it's not really a good outlook if you were these teams. You're going to have to really lock in, because you're going to have to go against easily one of the strongest teams we've seen, and it's possible, even if we do see either of these teams go to finals, we see a, like, Wild Boy 619 Obey level ups, or just level beatdown. Which, I mean, it depends on who you like, but that could certainly hurt, I guess. Well, 2v5, and I think that there's still a chance here if you're Wolves. You need to start putting in the numbers now, as you cannot afford to give any more to a team like Redemption. And I think that's the issue is, can we see that same, you know, second win that you really need to see here if you even want to make it close? You need to see that second win. You need to see Andy Sturm come back into that alpha player that everyone is terrified of. And that's the big question is, can you even see that from him? Could you? Maybe. Is it likely at this point? I don't know. There's only so many stats that I can project and tell you about, and I can only be right so many times. You really see the run around, and you see the absolute aggression as the plan is to go fight, and Zoli does find the big pick here to at least get the numbers in the direction, as shooting bodies might get you a little bit of ego boost and maybe some mental warfare, but questionable at best. Problem is now you have Zoli, who was literally able to... What the fuck? Alright, dude. Cody is good, not great. Just what he's always been. At least as of recent. Also, plus this 0.5 isn't really helping. Good start in the beginning, but then he kind of just dribbles off with the map that everything matters. But hey, you have other plays to do that. You have Tactical, you still have ITQC and Squirtle finding their numbers, and you also find Cody getting on the board, as I say that. Getting the numbers also needed, and maybe, just maybe. I do question what is the big plan here from Wolves. Is they don't have the vertical they wanted. They don't really have anything they really wanted. Zoli somehow finds one, I don't know where, honestly. They just find it. Andy's with another, and the wall going out. Maybe, just maybe there's a chance here for a good plant and a good stop. But you need to find this now. You need to be pretty dominant here, as you need to get a plant. And instead, Andy and Limitless both find some. Zoli, excuse me. Now you got yourselves at least, I think, a bit of a game. I don't even know what the fuck I'm using. Speak English. That's crazy. English is kind of crazy, but... Settings. No, no, no. How about we do docs chat? No? Oh, there you go. Hey, I can see Twitch and everything now.
Defenders, protect your
Much
bombs
better.
from being defused by attackers.
Controller? Okay, we're good. 3 and 5. Wolves have, I think, the potential to make this go to OT or even make this regulation win, but you have to see some perfection plays from Andes. He is the player that everyone is terrified of. He is the one that is supposed to be essentially the king of playoffs every year as of recent, and he could prove that again, but he really has to show out. I also think we're going to see quite a few players that have just kind of farmed their KD early on, even if they struggle a little bit early or struggle a little bit beforehand.
5 seconds left.
Like the NLG X-Force game, I think one player like an 11 KD, so you know. There we go. Watch your back is crazy over insulting the dude who's 4 and 7. That's some wild accusations there. That's like supporting Flaxy. No, that's not true. I don't know. Supporting someone that's kind of buns right now. Stretch? No, because he's kind of cool. Sprays. Yeah. But you never know. Everything could go your way. Everything could not, and there's always that in between. But the problem is that in between generally doesn't lean towards Wolves. They don't have a lot of situations where they come out of this and they lose something. Yashue Sprays isn't playing because he went 3 and 8 map 1 and got subbed out by Noct, and so far Noct hasn't even made it close. He was like 12 and 8 last game, I think, or 13 and 8 last game, and no one even tried to touch him because why resub in the dude that was struggling. But catching him up the ladders, you find Andes and feels like it's the wrong place, wrong time with issues. You can't afford to have your main player be the wrong place, wrong time because he is your main player. And you're going to kind of have to rely on, I think, a little bit of luck here is with the one very, very annoying friend we are in. Apparently, a lot of the players were very fine with just running away here and taking all of that time away and just leaving it. Which is, to be fair, I think a good thing is now you got to win, though. You got to fight ITQC, you got to fight all of these guys, and you got to do it perfectly. There's not a lot you can afford to spare. That's what I think makes it so much worse is what can you spare? What can you really give up? Oh, I got sprays in here. I guess you got everyone in here too. There's the whole R6 competitive scene in one singular chat is crazy. 53 seconds left. Dexy could find something, but you gotta find one, and instead you're gonna see a down trade, which is literally the only thing you can't afford. Is you are entirely limited on bodies. You don't have the advantage to afford that. Now Squirrel's gonna walk his way up. He's gonna find 2 picks. He's gonna make this a 1v5, and redemption looks like that match point is all but inevitable. As you might find 2 to pad those stats a little bit. What more is left for you anywhere? In 1v3, you're gonna have to be perfection. You have to pull off a knocked level, comeback here. You're gonna have to find something special in your hands, unless you plan to bottle some lightning here and save what is a very unsavable round, in my opinion. This one seems all but over. It's 15 seconds left. You have nothing you can do here, and they're just gonna sit in the corners, wait for you to swing, and you won't be able to do anything about it. All in time, and in time we see a redemption match point. Now this is where we get to see the fun. If you are the side of Wolves, all or nothing. This is your final situation. This is your final back down. You lose here, you go home, and you look, I think, a little bit disappointing. You had everything going your way. You had easily, what I'd argue is the hottest pickup overall. You picked out literally the top, the Obey brothers. Everything was ready. Everything. This is your win now. Because they're not going to be here come next season. They're going to be on their own teams, and Obey is not going to, they're not going to lose and give up players. Which means, what do you even have to do? This is your biggest time. This is probably one of your only times you're truly a top team. If you throw here, what's left? You do see the Legion go out, and same with the Thermite. get rid of some hard breach, make sure Habana tricking is the only type of hard breach you really have, and you know, I don't hate the ban. I think Legion is better because of how good Squirtle is, not because it's a good ban. Which you can argue if that's really worth it, but at this point, I think that safety is what they need. They need to feel safe in each other. They need to feel chemistry. They need to be so perfect because this is kind of, I think, this is the last hurrah. If Wolves win it here, they have a generational comeback, and you know, that's it. Until then, I just don't know if I agree. And it kind of hurts because if we saw Noct map 1, you could have truly seen something. There was a chance they won map 1. But instead, you're going to kind of have to look at what has just been a very, very sad time if Wolves do lose it. I think that Wolves can obviously come back and they can still show out, but it's a question of what can you do in the offseason to even improve. Obey is going to come back into their own. 907 looks stronger than ever, and
5 seconds left.
I think they're at a level at this point where they have to question how are they going to beat those big teams. They're not worried about the voltages, you know, the Zave Esports. Not worried about those teams that are still might be good, but they're not championship contenders. Not yet. They got to worry about the best guys right now, and I think for a team like Redemption, this is sort of not their win now. This is Spray's win now. He has literally never, you know, he hasn't done that well in finals. This would be his first, you know, big chance at finals. Even if he doesn't get there and, you know, win it, it's still a good chance. Squirtle finds the first is, I think, what is a much needed pick, and suddenly Adexi goes down and you lose arguably one of the most important players. Is oh, for context, Yashway, they essentially just voted out Sprays, like Among Us style. He just got sent out. So now Noct is in, and you're gonna have to see something. I think at this point they have to just maintain the status quo. Squirtle has popped and come back to his own, come back to that MVP form. And it feels like Andy's has been shut down. This is the same player that nobody would even, you know, no one would have been able to touch him. He looked so perfect at times that it feels like it'd be impossible, but instead you're going to find one pick, and now you're going to need to find this if you're Andy's, otherwise this might be over. And instead, Noct finds it too. Now he's just in a position where he can watch everything. He finds another. Noct seems to be the haymaker for this game, as there's one boy left, and all it is shucks. Everything could have been, and instead it's down to the last man. Minute 35, you're going to pray for hope. You're going to pray for genuine greatness, but instead, all that hope is kind of going to be dwindled down. A throw, maybe, but 5 bodies thrown. It's a question, all day. A question where you don't know what's going to happen, and Noct finishes. Beautiful round from him, and a flawless end, and Redemption are going to head themselves into finals. A team that looked to have almost everything. Everything was there. Wolves had all of what they needed to win, but instead Redemption take it, buy their ticket to 907, and now, before I think we should be the 17th, well, the game in between here and then, BO5, Redemption, and 907. Sexy game. Hey, anything I want to say real quick?
Let's go!
Why even chow me on Jaeger? Like, there's just no
What
point.
can you do?
It's just a waste.
Come on!
Like, it's just a
GG's,
waste.
my guys. GG's.
It's just selling the round.
I mean, y'all did it. And this is also where I'd worry is...
Miami. I'm in Miami.
Okay, so let's put it this way. I'm going to put it this way. This is what I'd say for both y'all teams. This was Wolves' best chance at winning a championship right now. We'll see how it goes long term, because I don't know what they're going to change. I'm not going to lie. Y'all are already in a good mode.
Cards.
It's really just... this is just spray...
Get the stats for them?
Yeah, I can get the stats eventually.
Get those stats and everything.
But this is low-key the moment where... This is just Sprays hoping to ring chase. This is what I see this season as him on Redemption.
Are we really give this kid a
Yo,
roll
Miami.
about winning a league?
By the way, when you said getting knocked wasn't going to change a thing,
Yeah, no, it's...
that one back, bud.
Yeah,
That's
so
gone,
it turns
dude.
out, like,
Let's erase that.
Sprays is maybe a little bit LeBuns. I'm not going to count.
I don't want to hear it. Now it's rage bait. Now it's rage
But-
bait. What are you,
We
Vila?
don't have sprays now.
Hold on.
Vila?
That'll be all for tonight, as we had a beautiful game to end with, and we'll see you in grand finals, Redemption 907.